disappointed in every one of you.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to offend you.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I kiss you on the mouth.
No, I'm not cool with that. Just, I'm sorry.
One more time.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I mean, I'm dealing with degenerate animals.
I'm disappointed in every one of you. Disappointed in every one of you.
All right, come on.
Honestly, I can't do it, man.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
Let me tell you why.
It's gonna be all right, Nicky. Go ahead, shoot.
We just killed those fucking men.
What are you going to do about it?
You're happy because you got nothing. You don't got a thing. You're happy because you got nothing. Lobito! Got nothing.
I want to get out. I want to get out of this rat hole. I want to get online. I need
BDA boxing.
All right. Welcome everybody to another beatboxing podcast, broadcasting to you live from the True North. It's your good friend, Mr. BDA, and alongside with me as always, my co-host, the one, the only King Bucho. King, are you there? King, well, he's there. I see him. Oh, we also got Jimmy dropping by early today. Jimmy, you there?
Yes, I am.
Fantastic, man. Thank you for being on board on this beautiful Sunday evening. Well, at least beautiful over here in Canada. It's about time for another Sunday podcast. And man, we had a whole bunch of interesting fights last night. Lots to talk about. The future looks very, very interesting in the middleweight division, possibly 168 as well. So we're going to talk about that. Before we get down to the fun, we'll be opening up the phone lines, fellas. So stay tuned for that one. Don't forget that you can contribute to the show by wiring us a couple of shekels via the super chat. You can join the BDA membership program and get special emojis, badges, film analysis. But of course, the most important thing is you continue to like, subscribe, and spread the BDA gospel to the uninitiated. Shout out to everybody out there who's in the chat here. Iron Fist, shout out to Iron Fist. Cerny Banders says Benavidez looked good. He drew a large crowd down in Arizona. Oh yeah, he was in Arizona. That's true. That's his. I don't think he trains there anymore, but that's his hometown. And I did see Michael Carvajal, whom we interviewed a couple of weeks ago. Shout out to Michael Carvajal, getting a warm reception over there. Shout out to Jesus M, Jonathan Kidder, Official Scorecard Boxing. Shout out to Official. Check out his channel, the Coup d'Etat Boxing. He says he's gonna start making more film analysis. I can't wait. He plays that that Japanese commentator screaming after every punch. Aya! Banzai, or I don't know what the heck he's screaming. Shout out to Generic Villa fan, Jesus M double L says Mongolia ends the Golovkin meme. I don't know about that, man. Shout out to Rod Davis. Shit, Rod, I haven't checked your email, man. I'm gonna check it right after the show. Sorry about that. I do need some guitar solos for some of the tracks we're making over here. Shout out to Iron Fist, Chris K, Rod, Jonathan Kidder, and many more people to come, I'm sure, fellas. Thank you for joining us. Like I said, we're going to be opening up the phone lines. I mean, listen, lots to talk about. What do you fellas say we start out with Mungia, which was the main event and the main event that was far more competitive than the one over at Showtime. Mungia ends up getting himself a unanimous decision by scores of 118, 110, 119, 109, and 117, 111. Certainly do not reflect how hard an effort Rosado gave. Fellas, what were your impressions of Jaime Mungia winning this decision?
I mean, I'll go first, I guess. I mean, he's an exciting boxer. My impression, it was a great fight. It was a great fight. He won. I don't think there's any controversy. But he got hit a lot. Mungia got hit a lot. I mean, is this the peak of his level? Right? Because I think he has improved, but still, I mean, I think he was supposed to take out Gabe Rosado. Yeah, we were expecting an interesting fight, an exciting fight, but at the end of the day, I think Mungia should have stopped, give Rosado. Well, I think that was a plan.
That's the objective, yeah.
That's the objective, yeah. And he didn't. It was a competitive fight. He got hit a lot, like I said earlier. He wants Golovkin. Is that a good idea? That's my question.
Well, I mean, if they're protecting Mungia or if they're guiding him slowly, I don't. Especially if Golovkin looks sensational against Murata, which I'm starting to think he will. I don't think they put him in there. But I just want to say that when it comes to that Mungia thing and about how good he is, look, Rosado has improved. He does look stronger. And when I say improved, mainly the big right hand, that keeps most guys honest. But at the end of the day, it's still, if they want people to believe that Mungia is this going to be the next Canelo or the 160-pound version of Julio Chavez, you expect them at least to drop the guy or something. He hit Rosado with some flush shots. Rosado didn't go anywhere. And Rosado, look, to be fair, Rosado has only been stopped twice. That was by the two of the best or biggest punchers in the last 10 years here in the middleweight division. That was David Lemieux and Gennady Golovkin. But at the same time, I think it's clear right now, like you said, that Mungia sort of hit a peak. Jimmy, what do you think about that?
Let's see, everybody's going to say, oh, cynical Jimmy as usual. But I'm going to be honest, dude. I just never... He gets hit too much. He gets, like Buccio said it all, he gets hit too often. And if you're getting hit that often by guys like Rosado, and let's be honest, tough as nails, right? That kid is tough. He'll stand there, go through a meat grinder. All the props to that kid's stones. But is that a prerequisite to headline a card on DAZN? He's won only 5 of his last 15 fights. You know what I mean? I don't know. You would expect him to stop him. Remember, he was touted as a power puncher, destroyer of fucking guys, and he was supposed to be the next, they were touting him as the next Gennady and Canelo. And, yeah, he won all 12. So, yes, it was an exciting fight. But, again, 35-year-old dude who's been through wars, who's lost all but 3 of his fights since losing to Triple G in 2013. I mean, this dude has lost majorities because Triple G just beat the brakes off him. And remember, they threw a towel in. His face was a bloody mess. Kid is tough as nails. Give him props. I just don't think Mungia. There's a reason 38 pro fights, and the toughest opponent he's faced is a 35-year-old, albeit tough and maybe even skilled a little better, but still, you know what I mean? He's a gatekeeper at best. That's just and I'm not trying to shit on him, but go Buccio.
No, yeah, I agree with what you're saying. And Rosado, I mean, yes, he's an experienced boxer, right? And I mean, that could be a reason as to why. He's a veteran, right? But Mungia is supposed to take this guy out. At what point do we stop saying, well, Mungia, yeah, he's inexperienced or he still has too much to learn? I mean, at what point do we say that? Is he a contender or not? That's the question. Is he ready for a title shot? I mean, or do we still have to wait some more?
I agree.
A prime Triple G, or not a prime, even a 35-year-old Triple G would have beat that kid's fucking head. And remember a few years ago when they were talking, when he first kind of came on the scene and they were actually in talks with Triple G, and for whatever reason that fell apart? Remember that? It was about 2016.
Yeah.
Anyways, back then Triple G would have fucking took him out, beat his brains in, because he gets hit too hard too often. But that's my point, my position on him.
Yeah, because look, by the way, shout out to Chris K for his contribution with the super chat. He says, if Triple G looks good versus Murata, he'll destroy Mongoloid. Okay, people keep calling him Mongoloid. I mean, they call him Goro at best, but at least the kid's got balls. But yeah, man, I mean, if Triple G looks good versus Murata, you thought people were avoiding him before, they're gonna say, you know what? He's already gonna be 39. He's gonna be 40 next year. Then they're gonna wait till he's 42 or something before they decide to step. I mean, even when he struggled with Davidenchenko, I don't remember people necessarily sending contracts by the waves or by the bulk to Golovkin's promoters saying, hey, we want to fight this dude. A generic Villa fight says Kid Galahad took a dive, man. Fixed fight. Oh boy. Well, I mean, he did get hit with the same punch. I mean, why wouldn't he avoid that one? But shout out to Generic Villa for his contribution. Listen, I want to say something about that, Jimmy, about the Rosado fight. His record, rather. Yeah, it's true. You look at his record and he's lost. Now, he's been competitive in all those fights. Some of them even might have been robberies. But the point remains, like you said, is this Mungia's level? And, bless Mungia's heart. He tried his darnest to take Rosado out. He let his hands go. But again, we're talking about. See, this is why when people say, "Well, Golovkin fought nothing but bums." When Golovkin, if you want to call Rosado a bum, which we're not doing, but we're just saying what people say about Golovkin when you bring up Rosado, people say, "Yeah, but Rosado." Look at how he beat him, and look at how Mungia couldn't get him out of there.
Yeah.
So Golovkin is special. Mungia, I think at this point shows he's not. He goes 12 rounds against Liam Smith. Canelo takes Liam Smith out. He struggles against Inoue's inside game, or lack thereof, because there was just a lot of clinching, but he never seemed comfortable in that fight. And he struggles to pin down Dennis Hogan. Possibly lost that fight. He can take out guys like Gary O'Sullivan, Turano Johnson, Zedemeta.
Mm-hmm.
But that's really, I think this is where he's at. And he's 25. I know people are going to look at that and going to say, yeah, there's room for improvement. How much more improvement
he's
can
25. I mean, exactly. He's 25. What's his record again? How many fights does he have? How many professional fights?
38 fights.
38 fights. See, this classic Mexican style. I mean, he started early. And, okay, that's it. What more do you want? He's 25. Or are you going to wait? Like, are we going to follow the PBC route and wait for these guys to be 30 to start, like, putting him in tough fights? Come on.
I never forget, man. The guys remember when Jermaine Taylor was fighting, and he did pretty well against Hopkins, considering Hopkins was considered the number one pound-for-pound fighter in the world, and Taylor was relatively inexperienced. But then after that, he started struggling with Corey Spinks, Kasim Uma. And I remember that Jim Lampley would keep saying, because they were biased towards Jermaine Taylor, who was going to be the next star for them, and they were like, he's the kid. They kept calling him the kid. And it's like, the kid was 27. I mean, in boxing terms, that's near or at your peak. Let's stop calling. I mean, I know technically peak would be 30, 31, but let's face the facts. He wasn't a greenhorn at 22 years old. So, I mean, I think that's the same route they're going to try to take from a marketing perspective with Mungia. It's like, man, the kid, he's 25. Let's see. Look, he has improved somewhat his defense, a little tighter, and he does seem to let his hands go more. But other than that, I don't know.
Can I say? I mean, how do you call? Like we do refer to him as a kid. And that's what they do. He's young, but there's boxes. There's put in perspective. He's 25, but he's had 38 pro fights. You know what I mean? That's more than most guys will have in their career nowadays. Yeah. So you know what I mean? So as far as his boxing life, he's not a young kid. He's actually a wily veteran after 38 pro fights. You know what I mean? Anybody else you describe as that. So he's grown into his man strength. He's not going to get any stronger. He can develop a few glitches, things here and there, but I don't see anything special. I don't see the next Canelo. I just don't. Oh, no. I never have. You know what I mean?
He could get stronger if he starts, if he goes down the route with the supplements. But, I mean, look, anything can happen. He could improve more. You never know. We've seen it before. But right now, the way it looks, Liam Smith, Rosado, Gary O'Sullivan, Turano Johnson, that's where he can beat these guys, but he struggled. Yeah.
Yeah, and expecting maybe him to become a Canelo Golovkin type of fighter at that level, okay, maybe not. But my question is, can he become a dominant champion? And I'm asking this to everybody and people in the chat as well. Do you think Mungia can become a dominant champion?
I mean,
or even a champion. He can't even become a champion. I know maybe he can because now we have 4 belts and all that shit. But I'm talking about like a unified champion and like staying at middleweight and like dominating for a few years. Can he actually do that?
Butcher, you don't consider the WBO Intercontinental title as a real title? Is that what you're talking about?
I don't even. I was like, at some point, I was like, is he the WBO champion? I was like, no, that doesn't make sense. And I was like, oh, WBO International. Yeah. God.
The WBO district champion, district. Listen, I wanted to show something here because just real quick, my thought on Mungia is he's good. Like Butcher said, I doubt that he's going to be the best middleweight in the world at some point. To me, what he looks like is what Julio Chavez Jr. could have been had he stayed disciplined. Because, Mungia has remained consistent in his weight class for the most part. And I'm looking at the CompuBox numbers here. I'm sharing the screen with you fellas. It says that he threw 821 shots. He threw a lot of combos in there. So say what you want about the kid, but at least he's not like Julio Chavez Jr., who was getting draws that he shouldn't have gotten and popping dirty every 3 fights like Chavez Jr. was when he was coming up. And he's throwing a lot of shots. Eric Morales seems to, yeah.
I was going to say, that's if I was training him, that's one thing I'd tell him to stop doing is throwing so many combos. Because when you throw combos like that, a lot of them were almost the shoe shines. You know what I mean? He wasn't sitting down. I'd rather see him, instead of throwing a 5-punch combo, throw a 3-piece, put some stink on it, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. I get what you're saying. Yeah, because a lot of that is, it shows inexperience too, right? When guys let their hands go just for the sake of letting them go, and there's not much for real purpose.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, we got Pete joining us. Pete, are you there?
Yo.
you gotta get rid of that Gary Oldman. You gotta get rid of that Gary Oldman picture. It's creeping me out, man. But what's up, man?
Grab a chair. Grab yourself an egg roll, boy. Grab yourself an egg roll, boy.
You love that movie. Was he supposed to be a Jamaican? I don't remember, man. Like,
that's Drexel. That's a Drexel.
Yeah, he was a pimp that thought he was black or something.
Yeah,
but
that's what I'm
grab yourself an egg roll.
Yeah, get yourself we got what he says. We got all sorts of from egg roll from to I don't know or something like that.
Cotton Eye Joe to damn divine.
Yeah, to damn divine. Yeah.
Cotton Eye Joe to damn divine.
Fucking Pete, how do you know all this? Pete, how do you know all this
movie? Jack Sparrow, man.
Yeah, he's the original Jack Sparrow.
I got the knowledge, man. I'm the Rain Man of good movies.
It's amazing, man. We should do a second renaissance just on movies. See if you can keep up, or if you can excel, rather. But Pete, what did you think of the fight, man? Mungia, what's your assessment of him?
Well, speaking of movies, Frankenstein 3. Fucking Mungia. No, you know what? I'll keep it short, man.
Out of line.
I'm in a bad spot for signal. So, but look, I think the move to 160. How many fights has he had at 60 now? How many fights is this for him?
Good question. Let me check that out.
Probably 2 or 3. Right? He's 2 bolts away. When he was 154, he was 2 bolts in his neck away from being a fucking Frankenstein zombie. So I think the extra 6 pounds has done him good. I mean, he's making the improvements, the incremental improvements that you want to see a guy make. You know, he's a come forward Mexican style dude that throws volume. He won the fight, and let's go to the drawing board and address what we can improve. I think Jimmy's right. He punched himself out a couple of times and gassed himself, and then let Rosado catch him with a short hook. It's no good.
Yeah, man. I mean, he was taking the pictures a lot, and what I mean by that, Mungia was admiring his work. He would throw a combo and stay there for a split second with his hands near his chest. He got clipped a couple of times. Now, you can get away with that.
Just want to say he had 4 fights. Sorry. I just want to say he had 4 fights at middleweight. That's it.
Are you sure? Because I'm seeing here Torano Jones. Oh, the Gary O'Sullivan. That was middleweight, right?
Yeah, I thought Gary. Yeah, Sullivan wasn't that his first jump to 160? Unless I'm completely wrong.
I think you're right.
That was his first fight.
I believe you're right, Jimmy. Yeah, because Gary O'Sullivan doesn't fight 154. I don't think. But yeah, let's say 3 or 4. Mungia was taking. He was admiring his work in there. Now you can get away with taking big shots when you're young and you're determined, and you got that's what young guys do, right? They got to prove something, so they don't want to clinch, they don't want to play it safe. But I mean, you can only get away with that so much. So I suppose now the question then becomes, like everyone's asking in the chat, what's next? Golovkin, he might get a Canelo fight. You never know. And if that doesn't happen, well, then maybe they put him in there with Mungia. They could put Mungia against Andrade. How do you guys think he could do it against Andrade? Who would you favor in that one?
I'd probably, honestly, I might even go with Andrade, believe it or not, just because the length. But I don't know who's to say. But like guys keep on hitting on it, man. He took a lot of shots, and as tough as Rosado, he doesn't hit very hard. He's not a one concussive type puncher. And in fact, I don't think he's actually faced any really big concussive punches. Has he? I was trying to go through his record. Maybe you guys would know.
The way I understand it, in Mexico, you turn pro when you're 16. If you're chinny, you're out of here. I mean, they really don't don't hear about guys that are chinny, right? It's pretty much a done deal.
Oh, yeah. No, they expose them early in Mexico, for sure.
Yeah, it's what it is, right? You're going to get clipped early, and it's probably in a good way. You know what I mean? Like, if you got chin problems, you probably need to find something else to do. So, and it's not that Rosado had any power, and Mungia wasn't really showcasing huge power either, but for different reasons, though. He just punched himself out, too much volume, and gassed, and then Rosado would catch him with that right hand. So, yeah, Rosado's not the biggest puncher, but fuck, if you're going to punch yourself out, no speed variation on your shots. He wasn't eating them like, I got an iron chin, let me eat this. No, he was eating them like, I'm fucking tired, and this kid just drilled me with a check hook on the button.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think
you know what?
By the way,
Watch the film and learn from it. He could improve.
and I think after the fight, Mungia said that he kind of struggled with Rosado because Rosado was coming down from 168. So implying that the size difference played a factor. But I'm like,
Rosado's a
Mungia
blown-up
is not that small either, right? Mungia is a big guy.
Rosado's a blown-up 54-pounder. Come on, guys.
Yeah, exactly.
Rosado's a blown-up 54-pounder, and he's fucking around. He's not even boxing full-time, so I don't want to hear that. He just needs to go to the drawing board and watch it. Get what Dr.
He had no business at 168. Rosado had no business up at 168.
Look, I mean, I know this is just a picture, but when I was watching the fight, Mungia looked a lot bigger than Rosado. I was thinking that because Rosado's filled up. Rosado has filled up. I mean, let me see if I can find another picture because that's one. Well, this one's not going to tell us much, but Rosado has filled up in the last couple of years. He has gotten more muscular.
Yes.
But man, fucking Mungia looked bigger than him, and he was trying to overwhelm him. But I mean, look, Mungia is very good. I don't know how many other guys could have taken the punishment that Rosado absorbed last night, but it is clear that Liam Smith was able to take it, not Rosado. So it's starting to give us an indication of Mungia's power. It's good. He's got that accumulative effect that he can get on you, but good enough to be okay. Andrade, I asked the question, right? Andrade, I think Andrade, if Hogan could run circles around Mungia. And he didn't land that much. It was I think Andrade is a little bit more controlled. And even if he faced down the stretch like he usually does, I think he can clinch his way and evade his way to a 12 rounds decision. What do you guys think?
Mungia will walk him straight down and never take a step back. He'll just march forward. He'll eat every punch he'll eat him on purpose at this point. Andrade couldn't hurt him if he tried. And he don't move around the ring like a Rigondeaux where he could really run all night. It's just a herky-jerky, erratic. I'm not knocking the guy. I don't know what the style is called. It's just a guy like Mungia is just going to walk him down and send a message to the judges that he's trying to bring a fight to this guy. And all this guy's doing is bolo punching and fucking just running, trying to make it ugly and disguise it as a showboat. So he'd have no problem with Andrade. I'll tell you a pretty damn good fight. I don't know if it's possible, but a 60-pound Charlo, 160 Charlo. Those guys will stand there and bang it out with each other.
Yeah, and Butch is asking that question in the chat. Is Mungia better than Montiel? How about Mungia versus Charlo? I tell you what, man. Because the other fight that people are talking about is Mungia versus Derevyanchenko. We already saw Charlo beat Derevyanchenko. Now, it wasn't as easy as people like to make it out to be because the last 3-4 rounds, I thought Derevyanchenko won them and he had Charlo on the back foot. But what I'm trying to get at is how can Charlo beat Derevyanchenko and then struggle with Montiel? Was Derevyanchenko finished by that point? Did Montiel improve? Did Charlo have a bad night? The point is, how good could Mungia, if the Charlo that we usually see, the best version of Charlo, for example, takes on the version we saw of Mungia last night, what would go down? What would happen? I'll tell you my opinion, man. I think Charlo probably edges it.
If Mungia puts himself in the position to take those shots that he took from Rosado last night, from Charlo,
yeah,
no love for Charlo. But if he gets in there with Charlo and takes those punches, he's gonna get stopped. Like he was fucking hurt last night a couple of times because he gassed himself, and Gabriel Rosado hurt him a couple of times with his lead rights. And hey, let me ask you a question. Will somebody please choke Jack Reese? What in the fuck happened? Can somebody just did his glove split? His thumb webbing split?
I don't.
And then in the corner, they brought in a spare glove. Did you see that?
Yeah, they they always have him just in case. They got the spare gloves.
Why did he get mad at Rosado? I don't understand.
Okay, he said because he first of all, the guy stopped the ninth round 2 seconds earlier. And so Rosado didn't hear the bell. He kept punching. Now, Jack Reese's explanation or his logic is whether the round's over or not, if I say stop, you stop. And that's why he was lecturing him. But I got the clip here. Let's take a look at it.
That's what I thought. He jumped in too early and he got pissed off because he goes, I don't want you hit me. Remember when Jack Reese got hit by a couple of, it was an Andre Ward fight?
Yeah.
And somebody threw a hook late and hit Jack Reese in the face and he fucking went off. He's like, you're hitting me in the face now. He was yelling at Rosado, you break when I tell you. Yeah. He tried to dive in there like Steve Smoger right at the bell when he fucking timed it too early.
Oh yeah,
did.
that was yeah.
He did.
I know,
He
but
dove
I'm
in
saying,
2
yeah, you
seconds
reminded me of
early.
Steve Smoker, yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah, he died. He dove in 2 seconds early, and then since Rosado was no bell and he was still punching, he fucking kept arguing with him all the way to the. But earlier on in the round, he goes, "I got something with his glove. I think his thumb webbing came loose or something.
Something
his corner hand
split,
isn't
yeah.
a spare glove."
Well, let's take a look at the clip here. Shit, hold on, let me share it here with you
I hate
fellas. And I
you,
gotta
Jack
stop.
Reese. Jack Reese, I hate you.
I mean,
He's
well, yeah,
like
I'm
the
gonna
next
get to.
Joe Cortez. I'm telling you, he's the next Joe Cortez. He wants all the attention. He wants to be like, especially since after the Fury Wilder fight, like everybody started interviewing him and asking him
Yeah.
about the count, like how he got it right, and he went over took his fucking head. I think, but go ahead.
Let me see if I can play the clip here. And actually, I got to play with sound, obviously, because we want to hear the bell. So I think at the time, because I can't play more than 7 seconds or 5, actually. So we're going to take a look at the 5 clip, but just keep in mind that I started recording at about, there were about 6 seconds left, I believe, in the round. So. Oh, it's corrupted. Okay. So he's stopping the round about 2. Hold on. Let me play it again because it's corrupted. So he, see, right there. Well, actually, let me play it all the way through. Sorry. So he hits him with 2 big shots here. Fuck, it's fucking, the file's corrupted here, but you can see that wham. Big right hand, left hook, another right. He starts stepping in, but Mungia is fine. I mean, he's a little stunned, but he's fighting back. Reese steps back from the initial time he tried to go in, and this time he jumps in, and then a second later, or half a second later, the bell ends. Nevertheless, he stopped it early, and then he proceeded to lecture Rosado. Now, Reese is the guy that everyone lauded for. Shit. Yeah, he's the one that everyone lauded for saving or doing the right thing with the Fury Wilder fight. Some people say, well, you know, if he really wanted to, because, you know, Wilder was a favorite in that fight. He's the guy that was supposed to win. He could have stopped it earlier. He didn't. He did the right thing. Here, what the fuck happened? From what you could see that I showed.
No idea, man.
From doing the right thing in the Wilder fight. What does that mean?
I mean,
which Wilder fight?
The first one.
Which one?
The one that he.
Well, he just stood there. What could he have done differently? What did he do?
Because he didn't. People claim that he should have stopped he should have counted Fury out. Like, actually, he didn't. He shouldn't even have counted because Fury just went down so dramatically that it should be in an immediate stop.
He's a fucking asshole, but he can count to 13. He's fine. He just counted. He counted. He can count to fucking 10. But his problem is that he remember he went to ringside one time and said he wanted the fighters' purses docked. I'm talking about in between. He called timeout. Go neutral corner. I want the fighters' purses docked. This is bull. You know, I mean, like you guys, you know, low blows. Then he got hit one time with a punch. He got all pissed off. And last night he jumped in early, thought he was going to get hit with a punch, jumped back out, and then lectured Rosado all the way to the corner in the 11th round of a fight where, you know, it was probably fight of the night. Just should fucking sit back. Shouldn't know nothing about it, man. And unless there's a knockdown or a foul, just chill, man.
Well, I was going to say in the Wilder situation, he was. I like what he did there as a ref. He looked at Fury's eyes. Again, I say it all the time. The eyes never lie. And when you're goofy but not goofy, your eyes it shows. And he says he looked into his eyes. They weren't glossy. They were focused. And then he put his leg up. He just, out of experience, he knew that he wasn't that hurt. So that's the reason why he didn't jump in and just wave the fight out. You know what I mean? When Fury went down. And you made an excellent video, BDA, explaining that count, by the way.
Thank you. So what's he doing here? Why is he? Because, okay, he might say, well, I thought I heard the bell. I didn't hear anything. I didn't even hear, because I forget which fight it was where a guy stopped, one of the referees stopped the fight early, but he mistook the 10-second warning for the bell. It was a black referee.
Bradley Vargas.
Was that the one?
I've seen that a few times, actually, where
Vargas
they just get so into it, yeah.
Yeah, Bradley had Vargas hurt, or vice versa. Man, it's too loud. It's too loud where I'm at.
Is somebody getting spanked in the background? What the fuck?
Yeah, these people are shooting back here.
Shooting?
I was gonna say, it sounds like a shooting range.
What the hell are you?
Nowhere at a farm.
Oh, good.
Like fucking lonesome dove out here. I'll be back.
All right. Yeah, but listen. 1 second, 2 seconds, half a second. He shouldn't have jumped in there. I don't know what the heck was going on. Did he explain after the fight?
Well, what he was saying was, I think a lot of it was he's not listening to me. Well, that's the reason why you take away points. And I'm not trying to shit on Jack Reese. I like him. I think he does a better job than a lot of them. But instead of trying to plead it with him, if he's not listening to you and he's continuing to throw shots after you tell him to break, whatever, fucking deduct a point. But I don't know what it was with the glove. I think he saw something. He thought it was a tear in the glove. That's why
but then,
at first he mentioned it. I don't know.
And then right away he goes, okay, no, you don't need it. And Rosado has to tell the commission, no, the ref said I don't need it. So, I mean, we'll talk about it more. I want to see what Jack Reese said because I haven't had a chance. I had to go to sleep right afterwards, man. Fucking 12:14 in the morning. All right, so that was the fight. The undercard too, I haven't seen the Cepeda fight. A lot of people are talking about Cepeda. They've been talking about him before, putting him in there against some of the top lightweights. And man, apparently he looked good. So I want to check that out too. So that's the one. We want to get to Kid Galahad too, getting upset last evening over in England. But let's move on to David Benavidez, stopping Tyrone Davis. I keep calling him Tyrone. How racist am I? Tyrone Davis in the 7th round. No, not a competitive fight. What we expected. If you're gonna, at this point, I think it's clear, fellas. If you want to beat Benavidez, you're gonna need someone with a little mustard, good hand speed, great skills or something. But these guys that are good, mid to high level contenders, you need somebody. I think you're gonna need somebody that's got incredible sort of physical talent to at least be on the level with this guy, because he just beats guys down. And again, was Tyrone Davis the best opponent? No, but Anthony Dirrell ain't all that shabby. He got beat down too. The only one who's been able to go 12 rounds now, the distance against Benavidez, is Ronald Gavril, and he took quite a beating, especially in the second fight. So, fellas, what do you think about Benavidez? Are we done with seeing him fighting this type of competition? Does he need to now step it up against either a Charlo or a Canelo if he can get it, or even maybe a move to 175?
I agree. He needs to step it up, but I don't think it's so much his fault, because I know look at all the stipulations Charlo's putting in his way, and that's somebody from his own company.
Yeah.
There should be no problem making that fight. There's a bunch of fights over there, but I don't believe it's Benavidez. I believe he's willing to fight everybody.
I agree.
I like the kid, you know what I mean? But I like I said going into the fight, I gave Tyrone Davis zero chance because he doesn't have the pop to stop him. To get him. And like you said, you need somebody who's got some crack. And Davis doesn't he looks like a bodybuilder. He's so muscular, you would think he could crack. Goes to show you it's not always the case.
Yeah. And listen, I understand that this fight was not supposed to happen. It was supposed to be Uzcategui. But even that Uzcategui fight, it would have been entertaining because the only 2 people that beat Uzcategui, or 3 rather, were movers. And Benavidez ain't that guy, so it would have been an entertaining fight. But even then, Uzcategui already lost 2 fights in a row. I mean, did you? And even a guy, the EPO Uzcategui, I don't think he beats Benavidez, man. If he just stands in there and eats those shots, he would have given some back. But man, I want to see Benavidez against somebody with a little pop, man. Somebody that's gonna stand in there and try to. He's got deceptive defense too, man. We got Raikkonen jumping in. So we just moved on from the Mungia fight, but you want to jump in here on the Benavidez fight?
I just want to say, is Pete okay? Because I heard gunshots, so I just want to make sure he's all right.
He's in the farm, he said.
Oh, I thought he was in the streets of like Tampa or something, getting shot at.
Butcher says he's not even flinching. He's a psycho, man. He's fucking Neil from Heat. He just hears some gunshots next to his ear. He doesn't even flinch. But yeah, go ahead, man. Benavidez fight.
Yeah, so you said we moved on from the Mungia, right?
I mean, we'll get back to it at some point, but yeah.
Yeah, when it comes, I didn't really watch the Benavidez and Tyrone Davis fight because I kind of knew what was going to happen. It pretty much went exact from the way I'm hearing. I saw the highlights. It went exactly the way I thought in my head, right? Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, I think he needs to step up the level of competition, man. I hate this idea that we're gonna fight guys that are not on the level until we get a big fight with, let's say, maybe Canelo. I don't think that helps him. You know what I'm saying? It's just basically him looking for a paycheck You know, he's the type of guy that's always going to come in to win, and I suspect that if he was to fight Canelo next, win or lose, he's going to give his best effort. But if you really want your best chance, you know, I think he should fight at least one guy that poses like that kind of 50-50 threat, even if it doesn't turn out that way. Just go straight in, fighting bums or no hopers, you know, guys that don't really have the chance to beat you, they're not on the level, and then go from that into a big mega fight against somebody like Canelo. I just think that's a terrible idea.
I mean, you know what it is, man? It's because we've seen Benavidez beat guys like Davis. You know, Ellis was that type of fighter. Durrell is a better fighter than these guys because he got a little bit more pop and just overall more skill, but still a guy that, I mean, that's why we knew this was going to happen, because if he could walk through Durrell's shots, he was probably going to walk through Kyron Davis. Now, let me ask you something, Recognize. I'm showing the screen here. I'm showing you pictures of Benavidez versus Davis. Davis has the Rasta threads on, or the beads, I don't know what you call them, and the sweat's flying all over them. Shoot fighters, I've said it before, cut their hair, whether it's straight hair or this type of hair. Shoot fighters cut it off so that the judges don't pay too much attention to the sweat flying all over the place.
I've always believed in that, even in just like not even in competition. But I would say especially in competition where, you know, it's an event where there's a lot of people there and you're being judged by judges. I always believe in the short haircut, you know. You don't want hair to be a fucking problem, right? So you start sweating, and there's fucking, every time the guy punches you, there's sweat flying out of your head, right?
And Recognize it's courtesy for the audience too, because imagine you're there, I'm gonna watch a fight, I got my drink, all of a sudden you got sweat all over in your beer. I mean, it's disgusting, man.
So gross.
Recognize. My grandfather used to make everybody he fought, you know, train, shave their head before a fight for every reason you just said, man. It drips sweat in your hair, like especially having an amateur, you have headgear on, so that's different. But it leaves a channel for sweat to come down, opposed to staying up against your skin. But even in the pros, it absolutely sends blood, spit, whatever flying when you have it in your hair.
Everybody's different. I always felt like, when I got a short haircut, I felt like I'm ready. You get what I'm saying? For a fight. If somebody tries to grab me in the headlock, my hair's not in the fucking way. You know, somebody punches me, my hair's not fucking all fuck. You know, when you have a lot of hair, you know, it's like it can get discombobulated, right?
Sorry about that.
But when you got the shortcut, you know, you got the short haircut, you don't have to worry about any of that shit, you know? You don't have to worry about any of that stuff. You don't have to worry about, you know, your hair getting all fucked up or you know, when you start sweating, it's all in that fucking hair and you're itchy and shit. Nah, man. Cut the shit off. Cut it off.
Right. Yeah, plus, that's what, like, the reason why you wear a winter hat, they always say put a hat on, is that so much of your heat escapes from the top of your head. You know what I mean? Same thing. That's why they wear a hat. You can keep the heat in. But when you have a short or shaved head, it's better than like a lot of hair on your head. It'll actually keep you cooler.
Absolutely, man.
I'm looking for photographs of. I went to Google Images and I wrote, the hell is that? Crew cut jock, because I want a photo of a jock with a crew cut. You know, the football players and all that. Anybody, boxers for a long time, like you guys said, they crew cut, because it's easier. So I write crew cut jock and I find a Tumblr account, and it's a guy who's got a fetish for dudes with crew cuts. I mean, I gotta tell you find all sorts, man. In this fuck, I'm gonna do a second Renaissance episode on this, and I am gonna be saving this. I'm gonna be saving this link here for that episode. What the fuck? But no, but it's seriously, man. I mean, Virtuoso in the chat goes, "What the hell was that?" It's true, man. But anyway, yeah, I mean, the crew cut, you gotta get that stuff in there. David Lemieux versus Golovkin. Speaking of Golovkin, how many times did he take every jab that Golovkin was landing? Whack that. Even Bernard Hopkins said, you know, cut that off. Duran versus Camacho 2. Duran had like a bolt cutter. He thought he looked like one of the Beatles in there. Every time they would clash and clinch, and boy, were there a lot of clinches in that fight, his whole hair would move around, and it looked like he was getting hit. You know, it looked, I mean, so yeah, they gotta cut that hair, man.
Even Pacquiao, bro. Remember there was a fight, his hair, he kept moving his hair out of his way. I forget what it was. He had kind of longer bangs, and you could tell it was bothering him.
Yeah, which one was
why bother with it? Get rid of that shit.
Have a nice fade if you want. You know, some people feel comfortable with a fade, but cut the top short. You know what I'm saying? Get a skin fade, and the top. You know, I'm not saying short as possible, but short enough where it's not. You know, when you get punched, it's not all over the fucking place. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like Lemieux had a fade, but he had a whole hell of. He had a mop head, right? Like his hair, yeah. So it was like all in his way. It was a cool haircut if you like chilling with girls and shit. But when you're in a fight, it's different, you know.
Hey, did you see Lomachenko?
A guy with a piston-like jab.
Yeah, exactly. Did you see Lomachenko? I think the last video somebody posted of him in the Discord. He's bald now. I think he's going for the Usyk look. But by the way, we're talking a little bit too much about hair, man.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about the shoes next. The shoes Lomachenko was wearing were so last season. All right, let's move on. Okay, we got a phone call, by the way. No, but there's a purpose behind the hair we're talking about. We're not just talking about whether we like the hair. So, yeah, if anybody's going to...
last year, right?
So last season, that was great.
347, you're on the air. Actually, give me a second. All right, 347, you're on the air. 347, what's on your mind?
Actually, I would say go with Caesar. You can never go wrong with Caesar.
That's right.
But enough of the haircuts. You know, I think it would be this was a great night of fights. You know, I was lucky to catch all the fights. Let me start with Kid Callahan. Kid Callahan was boxing smart. He was, boxing well. He was clearly...
MMA champ, I got to interrupt you. MMA champ, I got to interrupt you. Sorry, you're breaking up. It's like, I think it's a connection problem. And I don't know if it's from my end or yours, but yeah. Okay, hang up and call back. Hang up and call back.
Yeah, hang up.
All right. Yeah, I think he wanted to. He was saying the Caesar cut.
The Caesar cut. Like that's what we used to call it. Like, so I told you guys that I know how to cut hair. I cut hair pretty good. So what you want to do is you want to like the one clip or maybe the two clip, and you just shave the whole shit down evenly. You know what I'm saying? Or if you want to fade it up, you could actually, but. The best idea is to basically just shave it down, and there was reasons for that, man. There was reasons in combat days, you know, like think of like fucking what was his name, Achilles, right? Achilles, he had a head full of hair, but imagine if he had to fight a dude, you know, like fucking grabbing and shit. I mean, the natural thing is to grab him by the fucking hair and flip him over.
Yeah, in a street fight especially. Yeah, in a street fight, you want to grab somebody, if they got long hair, grab them by them and just beat the crap out of them.
Absolutely. You even see it in football. Football, like you got the football players, they got dreads and it's fucking down. The helmet can't cover it. And I've seen plenty of times where other guys just grab them by the hair and fucking pull them down. And they get offended, but it's like the guy who's tackling is like, man, fuck you. It's right there.
And it's not even a penalty. It's not even. They won't throw a flag on that because man, your hair's out there.
Well, listen. In regards to Benavidez versus he said, and I got the quote here, but let me just check the phone line see if he. Oh, we got okay. MMA champ's calling back. Yes, MMA champ, you're back.
Yo, am I good now?
Yes, you're better, man.
Am I good?
Yes.
All right. So I was saying, Kid Callahan. For the first, 4 rounds, I think. Yeah, for the first 4 rounds, he was boxing smart. He was clearly up. And then, he just got rocked with the overhand right that Kiko was trying to land all night, and he finally landed it and dropped him. And I think he was already out at that moment. In the 6th round, when Kiko dropped him again, KO'd him with the overhand again. You could tell, like it was telegraphed everything, but he should have been able to get out the way of it. But you could tell he was just done. So he just got caught again, and he was like out. You could tell, like after that first knockdown, bro, he was out. But great upset by the Spanish. Legend Kiko Martinez, Jose Benavidez. I mean, his best win is getting shot. I mean, come on, Jose Benavidez looked terrible. He got a gift draw. Now let's talk about David Benavidez. I mean, he just smothers, his opponents with no guard up. I've seen him get knocked down the same way. I don't think he has a chance, to beat Canelo, fighting like this. I mean, he has no head movement. I just don't see him beating Canelo. I mean, I don't see it. I didn't see a spectacular performance from him. I wasn't impressed by his performance. What do you think, Biggie?
I mean, you're right in the sense you could criticize him for his lack of opposition because, I mean, he hasn't really. His best opponents Gavril and Durrell. That's about it. But the opposition that he is fighting, he's barely losing any rounds. I mean, he's just whacking these guys out of there. Now,
but these guys, he's fighting absolute bums. Tyrone Davis literally is 16-2. He's 16-2 with 5 knockouts. Mm-hmm. He has no power. The guy's a bum. Okay, this dude stands straight up with his chin up. Canelo will counter him easily. Okay, I don't see anything special from Benavidez. The only guys that have a chance of beating Canelo is his daddy GGG, Bivol, and Benavidez. Those are the only guys. Now let's talk about Mungia versus Rosado. That was a great fight. I mean, Rosado, he was not feeling enough. He was, trying to time Mungia too much. He was caught up in that, and he really got off of his jab and his body work, his body shots. He needs to utilize the body punches more. Mungia showed great sense of distance. I mean, he had a very, snapping jab. His punches, broke the guard of Rosado. I mean, Mungia looked like $1 million tonight. Well, not $1 million, because
$1 million.
But I'll say he looked bet.
How about $100K?
Better than his last fight. I think Mungia gets better every fight, but Rosado, he did good. He hurt Mungia, stunned Mungia a couple of times, and he thought that Mungia would fade in the later rounds, and he thought wrong. But
all right. Well, listen, MMA champ.
Rosado is a tough. Go ahead.
Yeah, because you get your points across. We have other phone calls here, so.
All right, peace.
No, I was going to ask you for a last comment, but anyway, yeah, all right. Shout out to MMA champ for his country for calling in, man. Really appreciate it. Yeah, man. He says he's not impressed with Benavidez. Can't blame him for it was a last minute opponent replacement they brought in. That's why we want to see him be matched up against somebody better. And if Triple G looks good against Murata, or even if he doesn't look that great, I mean, I would still like to see that Triple G Canelo rubber match. I don't know about you guys. Canelo. Some people are saying Canelo's going to take him out. He's going to have to bring a baseball bat in there if he wants to stop him, I believe.
I'm just not too big on that fight. Only because Triple G, I just seen so much erosion the last couple of years. I mean, the guy's almost 40 years old. And again, and no knock on Canelo, he did fight him twice already. But it is funny how all of a sudden the Charlos, the Andrades, all these dudes who you couldn't have fucking, they wouldn't even say his name before. Now calling him out. It's just typical. But yeah, I agree. I think Benavidez does get hit. Right, Lottie comes kind of with his head up. But he does have that fast right hand is nice, and he is tough as nails. And I got to say, Benavidez, his body is finally looking like it's finally tightening up because he was 300 pounds when he was a kid. Like you can see that he is putting in the work, so that's a good sign. I was always hoping to see if his midsection would start tightening up. It looked like it is, so I'm impressed with him. He's a tough kid, old school type dude. But I think right now, if he was to take on Canelo next, that'd be a mistake. It's too much.
Right.
Too much of a jump.
Yeah, so you're saying too, Benavidez is not sneaking jelly donuts into his bedroom at night. All right, let's go to
exactly.
What the hell is that? All right, let's go to 484. Hold on a second. 484, you're on the air. 484, what's on your mind?
Hello, Mr. BDA. How are you? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Is this Michael?
It's Olaf.
Olaf. All right, Olaf. Thank you for calling in, man. Beautiful Sunday evening. What's on your mind?
Yeah, it's a beautiful day, man. The sun is shining on all of us. I love it. Praise the Lord Jesus.
There you go.
I didn't catch the Jaime Mungia fight last night, but I was able to catch the David Benavidez and the Jose Benavidez fight. I watched the Showtime card, and there's really not a lot to say about Jose Benavidez, but with David Benavidez, man, is he's a really special. He's a special fighter. In the meaning that, he has BDA, this is what I was talking to you about in your Discord server. Literally exactly how I described him in your Discord server was exactly what he did that night. He systematically broke that fucking guy down. I know it was a last-minute opponent and all that shit, but he completely broke that fucking dude down with combinations and fast hands. He took the first 3 rounds off. He really didn't get going until the 4th round. And then it was he really started beating the fuck out of this guy in the 4th round, dude. Dave Benavidez. And the thing about him is if you've noticed, they used to call Danny Garcia and Canelo stone feet, or you got concrete feet, that kind of shit. I've never seen someone more flat-footed in my life than David Benavidez. Honestly, he's got less foot skills than his brother. His brother can hop around a little bit. It seems like Jose is trying to fight more like David now than he was when he fought Terrence Crawford. But at the same time, dude, you know what, dude? I don't mean to come on here and be critical of Dave Benavidez, dude. I really don't, because I've always told my friends, I've always told people that I'm a big fan of him. But he will get stopped brutally by Canelo Alvarez.
Oh,
I guarantee that he will. You don't think so?
Let me ask you one final question, because we have to move on. Which fight then? Okay, you don't want to see Canelo Benavidez. What's the dream fight for you for Canelo?
The next fight for Canelo, listen, here's my whole thing about that. I'll be real quick with you. I know you got more colors and stuff, but there's Canelo can't be a slick black boxer kind of thing. That's that narrative going on in the boxing world. I think, because Canelo has no problem beating slick boxers, in my opinion. We've seen it. We've seen him do that several times at this weight class he's at, and at the weight classes before. You watch Canelo's fights back to 2010. He's beaten people who can fucking move and who specialize in moving. But you know what? Who I want to see Canelo fight next is, I want to see Canelo get into a slugfest with Joe Smith, with the WBO 175-pound champion. You know what, Canelo? I just watched the Caleb Plant fight back again for the 15 million fucking time, and I'll tell you what. Canelo is trying to corner Caleb Plant, whether it be actually in the corner or on the ropes. He's not trying to give him any space at all. He's not going to be able to do that with Joe Smith. At some point, he's going to have to want to trade. He's going to have to trade with Joe Smith, and he'll get knocked the fuck out if he wants to do that. He really will. So I think the best fight for Canelo Alvarez, he wants to fight on Cinco de Mayo in Las Vegas or wherever. What's up?
Go ahead. Yeah, please make your
brother,
point.
what's up?
Olaf, are you there?
Yeah, no. He wants to fight. I'm here. It's kind of breaking up, but I think if he fought Joe Smith, it'd be a great fight.
All right. Well, there you have it.
If Joe Smith wasn't given all the fucking restrictions, and you can't balloon once you rehydrate, you can't be a so and so amount of fucking weight, whatever that. Let Joe Smith come in where he's comfortable, and let Canelo come in where he's comfortable, and then let's just fucking trade. That's all. Let's just start trading.
All right. Well,
and I guarantee you, Canelo Alvarez will get knocked the fuck out if that happens.
Well, there you have it.
I promise that.
All right, Olaf, that's his dream fight. Thank you for calling in, man. We'll catch you in the next one, right?
All right, thank you for having me, man. I really enjoy the show. Take care.
Hey, check out the suicide stream. Check out, it's suicide with a Z, because we're looking for all. It's a more extreme version of Second Renaissance. It's open lines. Even if we disagree with what people say, we want to hear all ideas. So check that out, all right, for the next episode.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, man. I'd be completely willing to check that out. I have someone that could send me a link to that. I'd appreciate it.
Bucho, can you?
I don't know how to find it. Or
all right. Well, Bucho, can you post it in the chat? All right. Shout out to you, Olaf. We got to move on. Thank you for your call. Catch you on the next one, all right, man? Take it easy.
All right, man. Take care. Thank you.
You too. Well, he says Joe Smith. Now, I mean, Joe Smith is like he's stronger than Benavidez, it would seem, because he's a light heavyweight, but is he really better than Benavidez with the fast? I don't know, man. I mean, it would be an entertaining fight.
I saw that fight again with him and Caleb Plant. Mm-hmm. I saw Caleb Plant catch him with some nice shots. It's just that it was drowned out by the overall action. Maybe the analysts didn't see it or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I seen him punch Canelo to the stomach, and I saw Canelo go, whew.
Yes.
Like, you know, I saw that. I said, okay, let me explain something to you. If that's happening with Caleb Plant, you take a guy who's committed to that, right? He's committed and can hold on to Canelo's punches where he's not confused, right? He's not flinching. Oh, he's going to hit me to the body. Oh, he's going to hit me to the leg, to the top.
Yeah.
If you get that guy could beat Canelo. That's what I saw on the night of the fight. I watched it again. I was like, Canelo showed he can be beaten in this fight. That's what I took away from that.
That's what I've been saying. Yeah, that's what we've been saying, that he sort of hit an impasse in the Caleb Plant fight. All these people are talking about that. He's hit an impasse in this fight. He did not look like he did against Callum Smith and Billy Joe Saunders. And like you said, the Benavidez, look, Canelo's got a great chin, but he's not a robot. He feels pain. That's why he had such a hard time with Golovkin and vice versa. These guys were on the level with each other in terms of punching power, skills. That's why we haven't seen Canelo look like that again. But put him in there against Benavidez.
Here's another thing, BDA. If you ever sparred like a dude, or you ever fought a guy who's like shorter and smaller, even if he punches hard, you have the mentality of, okay, I already felt his punches. Now it's time for me to bite down. Depending on the guys, every situation is different, right? Mm-hmm. But you tend to okay, I survived it. Right, I survived his flashy hands, his fast hands, his confusing punches here and there. Right now, I want to dig down. I want to step into it. If you start hurting that smaller guy, he starts to fear because you're the naturally bigger man. Especially if you get his attention. If you hurt him, okay. Especially if you do that. That's all I gotta say about that.
It's excellent points.
Yeah, so I just want to say, I'm not trying to be a Canelo cheerleader. That's not why I'm saying this, but I think you'd see a totally different type of Canelo against if he was to take on Triple G again, or definitely Benavidez, or somebody with some pop. There was, as you guys saw, almost no fades, right? Almost zero fades at all. He wasn't doing any fades. He wasn't almost abandoned the jab altogether. And what that tells me is that he felt Plant's power, and because Plant was up on his feet, was never putting his weight up over his front of his body, and it was pity-patter pot shots. He just wasn't respecting what was coming at him. So those are all the things you would do if somebody hits hard. You'd feint, you jab your way in. You don't just walk in taking shots that he knew he would take. So I'm saying, yes, he absolutely took shots that if against Triple G or Benavidez, he'd probably be fucking, at least, if not put down, be rocked. But again, it's the competition. I just don't think Plant puts enough on his punches to keep him honest. That's all.
Real quick, that clip that Recognize is talking about, because again, I rewatched the fight again, the Plant Canelo, the 10th round, I believe. That was when Plant it seemed to be getting tired. He was standing his ground a little bit more, and he was chest to chest with Canelo, and Canelo hit him with 2 body shots, and Plant came back with 2 of his own. And he sort of doubled Canelo over a little bit. I don't know. It's like I agree with Recognize. It appeared as if Canelo sort of felt those shots.
Right, and you could see when he went. Right?
Yeah, you can tell when somebody. Yeah.
Yeah, imagine he would have said, "Let me follow that up with a maybe like an overhand to the head, and keep coming towards him." Yeah, Canelo's gonna fight back, but the whole thing that he can't be beaten, that you know he's almost invincible. That's bullshit, bro. He's there. You can do it. You're gonna need to, you know, you're gonna need your A game. Absolutely, you're gonna need your A game to beat him.
And you're gonna take some punches. Like I said, Kirkland was a big, strong guy who threw a lot of shots and hard shots. He went at Canelo. He got taken out eventually, but at least he tried. That's what I want to see now. I don't want to see a guy that's gonna try to box him. Nah, man, put him in there against the puncher. Real quick, too, shout out to Azeban in the chat for his contribution to Super Chat. Salute to everyone. Great show. I think Canelo versus Benavidez is gonna be similar to Pac Margarito. But that's just coming from a casual, though. Well, shout out to you, Azeban. I disagree about it looking that way. I mean, Canelo can move when he wants to, like he did in the Triple G fight, the first one, but he's not a volume puncher like Pacquiao. He doesn't have that type of explosive footwork. And I dare say Benavidez is a little bit more unorthodox than Margarito when it comes to his defense. He does that lean back a lot. So, I mean, I don't know. It's an intriguing fight. That's all I can say. Let's
He doesn't throw many jabs, Benavidez, but he throws a power jab.
Oh, yeah.
That right hand's like a jab. Yeah, recognize his right hand. The way he just, because he's so squared up on you, dude, and he's so much usually taller than everybody he's fighting. He comes walking in and almost in the same as a step as he's walking in. He'll just whip up that right hand, and he puts some snap on it too. So to me, that's he uses that as a great jab.
He's doing that to generate power. That's what he's doing. That when he steps in, you know, as he's stepping and he throws that, he lets that jab go. It's to generate power. Yeah.
Let's go to the phone lines real quick. I want to get back to that about Benavidez being squared up. Real quick, hold on a second. 747, you're on the air. 747, what's on your mind?
Yo, BDA. Yo, everybody. Good morning. This is Jay Money.
Oh, Jay Money.
Yeah, Benavidez.
Jay Money, how you doing, buddy?
I mean, good, buddy. Good, Jimmy. Yeah, like, every time I'm seeing, Canelo fight these bigger guys, it's just very apparent how small he is. Like, he's really tiny compared to these guys. And, Benavidez mentioned in his fight last night that they're saying, oh, well, look how he's, open for counters. Look how he's open for counters. Canelo would tear him up. And he's like, look, you got to understand that, we're pro boxers. This is a profession. For every fight, we formulated a plan for a specific opponent. And against Canelo, for sure I would be using my jab. And that just got me to think about, like, the fight against Kovalev. It was 96-94, and Kovalev had no power in his jab. And it was, like, basically just like a point. He was, like, just basically getting some points. And against Benavidez, he's a volume puncher. So, he might be up on points, and then Canelo would have to be, have to get him out of there to win towards the end of the fight. And one of the reasons that Jimmy mentioned it too, against Plant, he in the first round, he almost went straight to Plant's face because he had no respect for his power at all, like none. Mm-hmm. But against Benavidez, he's not going to do that. So then he would have to. So then there's a possibility that Benavidez could just outpoint him straight on volume. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, Benavidez, if you look at his stats, and again, I know this ain't baseball, we don't go by stats, but it does add to how the fight might go in terms of speculation.
Extremely important.
Right. Canelo averages about 350 shots per round. The most he threw in the last couple of fights was against Triple G in the rematch, and that was about 400 and something, almost 500. Let's round it up to almost 500. That's his limit. Benavidez, again, he hasn't been fighting guys like Canelo, but he usually can throw up to 800 and even I think almost 900 shots in the Gavril rematch. So, like you said, Jay Money, that's a lot of volume there.
Right.
And it indicates that he's a guy that hasn't fought anyone really. Well, Darrell can crack, and he didn't respect Darrell all that much. He just walked him down. So maybe your point about the volume punching has some merit there. Absolutely.
Yeah, and then one final thing. We talk a lot about the A size this, A size that, and I've been kind of getting really into it too, like the catch weights. Like there's speculation or rumors that Canelo wants to fight Bivol, and then he wants to fight him on the catch weight. Like that's starting to annoy me. Similar to like how Floyd did the same thing to Canelo, and it's like, hey, I made you suck down, and now here's the tool. Here's the secret card that you're going to use to make other opponents suck down too. So I kind of hate that. And I think Benavidez, I don't know if you know Star Wars, but I think he's like Anakin Skywalker. he might be like the chosen one to bring, balance to the boxing landscape, I guess. And he could be that one that, says, nah, forget about A-side this, or forget about, this not making sense in terms of a business standpoint. Because he wants to fight Charlo. He wanted to fight Charlo. Charlo thought that he was going to call him out and then just get like some type of clout out of it. And Benavidez was like, all right, let's fight. And then Charlo started going all crazy, vaccination this, you got to wear this, or I don't even know what the hell that guy's saying. But yeah, I think that this guy, he really could be that straight thug. Like you guys mentioned that he's a fighter. If he wouldn't have been a boxer, he still would have been a fighter. I think he could be that guy that says, you know what? No weight drains, no A-side this, let's fight. And I think that would be good for boxing.
Good points, man. J Money, interesting points. Catch you in the next one, man. Thank you for calling in. Have yourself a good Sunday evening. Take it easy. Hey, he called him the chosen one. Alan R says that Canelo's more like Jar Jar Binks. Oh, so again, we're seeing a lot of disagreement here between. Some people want to see him fight Benavidez. Some other people don't want to see Canelo Benavidez. I wanted to bring up a good point. What you guys were talking about Benavidez throwing that lead right hand. He throws it like a jab almost. It's a pot shot, but it's like doesn't have that much power. Obviously, it's not gonna knock you out, but it's a shot that just completely takes you out of your game because you don't expect it, and then you're thinking, okay, is he gonna lead with the left foot? Is he gonna go with a 1-2? I mean, it's just he can throw almost every punch in the book. It reminds me of Felix Trinidad. Remember when Trinidad would not quite the same, but he would be in his stance, boxing style, jab, and all of a sudden he would just touch you with a lead right. And again, it's not a. I mean, yeah, that's. It hurt. You can tell it hurts.
Trinidad wasn't as squared up either. His right comes to you even quicker because of his stance. Again, it's just he's a tough kid, man. Benavidez, to J Money's point, that kid would be brawling in the streets. He's just a fighter, and that's the type of person who you're going to need to beat Canelo, like a Triple G, someone who's willing to take big shots, willing to take them to give them, and that's Benavidez. And what that right can do, it might not knock you out, but it will. What it does is when you're getting, you're coming in, especially in an orthodox stance, it's a second punch to worry about because it's so straight, just pop, comes in. It can actually put you off your stance. Like if he gets Canelo's time and if he realizes, okay, this is the position Canelo's in, when he's going to hit me with his hardest shots, right before he gets in that position, try to remind, to keep throwing that right, just to keep him from setting up. It's an excellent punch to keep your opponent from setting up in, if that makes any sense.
You're saying it sort of like catches you off guard is what you're getting at.
Exactly. Just like you said, yeah, kind of because you don't usually see punches like that thrown with that speed, that straight from an orthodox puncher because most guys don't come squared up like that. And again, that's just because he's not afraid of getting hit. He's one of those dudes I guarantee likes to get fucking whacked. There's guys who enjoy it. They don't even get into the fight until they get a little fucking goofy. I'm telling you. Those are the dangerous guys to fight.
I mean, the thing with Benavidez is I'm still not sure how good he is.
You're talking about Benavidez and you have this face up.
Well, no, because somebody brought Jar Jar Binks up. So, and I don't know if you guys remember the Mad TV skit where they're interviewing George Lucas. I mean, they're making fun of George Lucas for ruining his own property. And then he goes, they tell him, people complain about Jar Jar Binks. And he goes, oh, I got a better character. And it's Jemima Binks, and it's just a completely racist caricature version of Jar Jar Binks, but it's like a black woman.
They would never get away with that now.
No. But I mean, they're making fun. I mean, they weren't being racist. They were just making fun of how stupid that guy could be.
No, I know. It was funny, man.
But anyway, listen, back to the Benavidez thing. Yeah, listen, I don't know how good is Benavidez. Again, this Kyron Davis fight, I mean, at least it was good. If there's anything positive about it, is that he stayed active. Right, Jimmy? Because I mean, if they would have postponed those category fights, he doesn't fight until next year. That's no matter how much he trains or spars, it's better that he at least stays active in the ring, right?
Of course, no, absolutely. He needs the rounds. I like to see him again. He just needs to come out with someone who bangs a little harder. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? I don't know if he's going to really change his stance. What worries me is he's so upright. His head comes in. It's always nothing, you know what I mean? It's always on a straight line. And Canelo's a very accurate puncher, especially with that left lead, that one that he caught Plant with. He's very accurate with that. And if he sees an opening, and he's very upright. So that would be maybe his downfall.
Benavidez has a weird style, man. He's upright, so he looks. By the way, that's the other thing. He looks way taller than 6'1". Who's lying? The opponents, and they're actually right.
Yeah, he looks like he's 6'3". I mean, dude looks tall. Well, he was in this. Stephen Edwards is a tall dude, the trainer, and he was, a couple inches taller than him. But yeah, he's towered over these guys he's fought, and it's just that long arms makes a big difference. Like, you don't see short dudes fighting coming squared up like that. You get eaten alive.
Martinez too, though. It's not everything. The thing about it is, man, last night, first of all, shout out to that, who was the kid they brought in?
Davis.
Man, that's a fucking tough son of a bitch right there.
Yeah.
Now. This guy's got a fucking heart, I'm going to say that.
Absolutely.
He took some serious fucking shots, bro. But Benavidez last night, that lead right hand, I like when he works behind his jab. Like, I like when he just throws that power. He wasn't jab so controlling.
You're breaking up, Pete. You're breaking up, man.
My bad.
Man, I tell you, the connection.
What Pete said, Kyron Davis, I want to see that guy again. I mean, he has heart. I think he deserves another showing on Showtime.
I mean, he drew against. Go ahead, Jimmy. Sorry.
I was just gonna say if he had power on his punches, he has plenty of heart. I know. I felt the same thing. Kind of felt bad for him because he came with short notice. He didn't want the towel to throw in. I understand why the dude did it. He's looking out for his fighter. But you're right, Bucho. The kid does have big heart.
I read somebody said that Davis was in shape because he was prepared. I think they had him pegged as a replacement in case Plant dropped out, I think, or somebody.
Yes, he was. He was.
He was. Okay.
Yes, he was told he was the second. Yes, he was. So he was, but it's still not this. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm, yeah, exactly.
But
yeah,
but it wasn't like off the couch. You're right.
Yeah, but even if he would have had a full training camp, again, we already saw a similar fighter in Ellis, the last guy that Benavidez beat, and it was pretty much the same thing, except Ellis went all the way into the 11th round. But even then, Benavidez doesn't respect this guy's power. Like the rest.
Exactly.
It's going to take something.
He has too big of a chin.
Mm-hmm. And it's interesting because
if you can't hurt him, he's going to come on.
The interesting thing about Benavidez is he's been sparring. He only had 15 amateur fights, and he was sparring everybody. There's a clip of him at 15 sparring Kelly Pavlik, and of course at the time Kelly Pavlik, I don't know if he'd been training, I don't know if he'd been sparring other people beforehand. So again, it's just sparring. But man, that 15-year-old Benavidez is looking pretty good. Benavidez also said he sparred Golovkin. And the interesting thing is he said, man, that Golovkin, every punch you feel it, whether he hits you on the arms, on the top of whatever, you feel those shots. So he's human. Obviously, I mean, if he can't be stopped by a big puncher like Golovkin. So it would be interesting to see how he would fare against a guy like Canelo, who a little bit of less power than Golovkin, but nevertheless packs quite a wallop in those fists of his. So I would be looking forward to that fight.
Sorry.
Go ahead, man.
Can you guys hear me at all right now?
Yes, you're not breaking up.
He's a note taker too, him and his dad. And those fights with Golovkin, I think that his dad was as much of a student of the thing as I see a lot of those techniques from Golovkin in some of his earlier and some of the fights immediately following his sparring with Golovkin. I see a lot of that power jab, letting a guy circle, pinning him on the ropes, and then letting him get out and giving him that hook to the body, varying the speed of his shots. Last night he was just throwing too many haymakers, not setting it up properly. Like, it was just an awkward.
Yeah, I mean,
if you see that little step over that he does when he gets on his toe, it's like he's like not to be funny, but it's like he's creeping, like he's tiptoeing through a house.
Yeah.
Like that's Golovkin, bro. I mean, that's exactly what. So I don't think he was just in there sparring with him, taking shots. Now he's got
You're
more.
You're breaking
flash
up again, man. You're breaking up a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, he's breaking up.
I thought it was just me. Yeah.
Now too, or no?
Yeah, because every 5 seconds. All right, man. Yeah, listen, but I agree. Yeah, that sneaky right hand, you can tell he sort of he positions his rear foot forward to spring forward, spring upwards when he's throwing that right hand. So he's got some sneaky moves, man. I mean, you can tell his dad took him to spar in a whole bunch of gyms, and they just absorbed. He's like a sponge. They just absorb moves from everybody.
Exactly.
Yeah. But again,
that's the way to do it too. If you spar the good guys, that's if you're not taking pointers from him. And if I do remember correctly, I think I read somewhere that it did say he learned the importance of putting it on your jab, the importance of a stiff jab, how much better that is. So again, he was young. It was smart of him to take those pointers.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. In the chat, Edwin Castillo says David's chin is questionable. He's yet to be hit by top guys, just like Berlanga, who supposedly has KO power, couldn't even hurt top guys. There's levels to skill, power, and durability. I agree, Edwin. I agree. But, Benavidez has been like, I would like to see Berlanga against Ellis. The previous, not the guy that Benavidez beat previous to Davis. Ellis, that strong, good dude. He's been sparring with Canelo too, that guy. And apparently he's been giving Canelo good work. So, see what Berlanga can do. I mean, at this point, Berlanga, you're starting to see his holes as well, his deficiencies in his last two fights, where his power is not just the only thing. It's not enough now. I mean, the guys, you can tell he's punishing the guys he fights, like the Argentinian. His face was all busted up, but what happens when he fights somebody that can take the shot and give it back just as well, or even better? Because let's not forget, he did get dropped.
Are you talking about Ronald Ellis? Is that who you're talking about? Ellis?
Yeah,
Ronald
Rashid
Ellis?
Ellis.
Is that his name? Okay, I was just one. Yeah, okay, you're right. Yep.
Yeah, he's a big dude too. I mean, he's 6'1", and again, Benavidez look way taller than him. And I don't think it's just because he's standing upright. But Ellis is a strong dude. He took the shots, and I mean, it's just I would like to see Berlanga in there against him. See what happens. Hey, we got Chief dropping by. Chief, are you there?
Hey, what's up, guys?
How you doing, man? Thank you for dropping by.
Hey, Jimmy. Thank you for having me as always.
Absolutely. We're talking about Benavidez and how he looked against Davis, and the big question. Yeah, some people in the chat are split. Some don't want to see him fight against Canelo. They feel he's not ready. Others feel that he's going to bring something Canelo's never seen or hasn't seen in a long time, which is a combination of power, balls, and aggressiveness. Well, what do you think? What did you make of the performance?
To be honest with you, I haven't caught all of that one yet, but I've been catching a lot on Instagram. I got homework to catch up on. I'm sorry. But I've been catching a lot on Instagram because I have been hard on him due to the fact of how he's been taking his career so far. I mean, at that weigh-in, he didn't look much different than me with his shirt off. I mean, that's no compliment. So, he wins the title. He looks like he's going to be someone that can actually take Canelo's head off. Then he gets popped for coke. Then he doesn't make weight. Or he wins the title back and then doesn't make weight. He's just inconsistent. He reminds me a little bit, and I don't want to say he's like Adrian Broner or guys like that, but these gifted guys that look like they can just take over any division, and then they just kind of squander it on talent alone and not dedicating to the craft. And I hope he proves me wrong, because I am a fan of his, but he's not proving anything right now for me to eat my words. And I've been getting pinged on Instagram left and right about how I don't know what I'm talking about and everything else because he's a two-time champion. How's he an underachiever? Because he should still be champion. That's why he's an underachiever. He should still have his belt. No one should have taken it from him yet. He shouldn't have lost it outside of the ring. And if he was a real, true, dedicated guy to his craft, he would have that belt, and he would be fighting Canelo for undisputed. But he didn't, because he doesn't live up to that. He doesn't stay focused. And that's why I think he hasn't shown anything to be ready for Canelo yet. He's got skills to offset everything, absolutely. I'm for him on that. But what did I say about Caleb Plant? I said the event might get to him. How do we know that that's not going to happen to David Benavidez when he can't even stay focused enough for his own title, let alone a fight of this magnitude?
Excellent points. I mean, excellent questions. I will say also to your point, when people say, yeah, he's a two-time world champion. Yeah, but again, there's about 5 variations now of titles. Well, not 5 variations, but in total, there's about, counting the variations, there's about 5 titles out there. You can get a title. I mean, but who did you beat? And he beat Gavril for the vacant title, and then he beat Dirrell for the vacant title. So he's not exactly fighting the guys that are established there as the best, or, he's not fighting a guy that's had at least, 5-6 defenses or something like that. But nevertheless, I mean, he's beating these guys up, and he's not getting hit. He's not losing rounds. He's not getting the Gavril knockdown. It was a legit knockdown because he got hit, but it was a flash knockdown. He hasn't shown any type of deficiency like that since. So I agree with the lack of competition, and he's unlucky that Uskatewi was popped for EPO But I don't know. Like, let's put him in there with someone who can crack. Who would you guys like? If it's not Canelo, who would be a good opponent for him next?
Charlo.
Yeah.
Charlo, without a doubt, for me, Charlo.
But Charlo's still moving
That's
up.
why I want to see him fight.
Jimmy, Charlo's still moving up, and I agree with you. I'm not. I mean, it would be as a fan, it's a fight I would like to see. But who at 168 can he currently fight to establish himself? Not because anybody can easily say, "Oh, well, Charlo was moving up," and I've still got an excuse. So who's going to validate him? Validate this guy at 168 to fight to where everyone says, "Yep, him and Canelo's the only thing left."
Good question, man. Good question. Yeah, it's true, man. Because if
Canelo can expose him if he wants.
That's a good question. If,
I mean, if Canelo's going to stay at 168, then yeah, you got to fight Benavidez.
Absolutely.
If you're not going to stay at 168,
Or 75. Or 70.
Right. If he goes up to 175, obviously, then that leaves Benavidez out of the question. But if let's say he says, "I want to defend my undisputed reign. I want to defend it." Yeah, you got to fight Benavidez.
To be fair, we've all said that everyone can have a gimme fight every once in a while, and Yardrum was one of them. But he could have a fight in between. But before he moved up to 175, if he says he's going to clean the division out, yes, he still has to fight Benavidez. But see, that's kind of like it's like a left-handed compliment to Benavidez in a way. And here's what I mean by that. Oh, you were the only name left that anybody really cared about. Not that you earned anything or that you were like a threat to win. You were just the only you were the last man standing. You were the lack of options. And it sounds like I'm really hard on Benavidez. I am because I want more from him. He reminds me of the Mexican style I grew up with. And that's why I like him. That's why I'm hard on him. You don't hear me being hard on Canelo. I could care less if Canelo ever loses. I could care less if he retires tomorrow. He's not my favorite fighter. I don't like him. But I have to defend him where people are trying to attack him of what he's done in the sport. Rounding up my little rant, if Canelo's actually going to come to end this and say, okay, I've cleaned out the 168-pound division, there's nothing else for me. Yes, he does have to fight Benitez, but it's just because you're kind of like, it's not because people are saying, oh, that is the guy that can beat you. It's just saying that's the only guy left.
People are saying that Benavidez is better than any other of the fighters that he beat for undisputed. He's taken most favorable of Canelo and the light most favorable to him. He's the second best guy at 168.
I don't doubt that.
And that's one thing. Number two, if he still had his belt, if he didn't blow weight, if he didn't test positive, so he got punished. He got stripped for those fractions. There's got to be a redemption. We got to move forward now. He got penalized. He fucked up and he got penalized.
Right. I would have liked to see him fight better competition in between that when he lost his belt. I would have liked to see Benavidez. But
here's what I'm saying. Though. Let me say one more thing though. The thing is this, right? Like, here's one thing you understand. You gotta be real about it. If he still had his belt, then he would be a mandatory for Canelo. In boxing, nobody has to do anything, right? That's number one, as we know. And number two, Canelo sure as hell is not going to be mandated to do anything, a la Triple G. Those fights were 2 years fucking late with a WBC belt vacated because he didn't want to be forced to fight Triple G. So you're not forcing a Canelo to do anything.
Well, he's in more of a position now to quote unquote force that, and I read you loud and clear, and no one's going to force him. I understand what you're saying, but if he would have had a belt, no, you're talking about Benavidez. I heard what you said about Triple G. I'm moving on to the current subject here. You're saying if Benavidez would have still had his belt, he would have been a mandatory. If I heard you correctly, but he wouldn't be a mandatory because he wouldn't have. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, Boxing Chief. I was repeating what you said. Had he not fucked up and lost his belt on the scale, or at the mirror with a razor blade,
right?
Then basically Canelo would have had to have fought him for undisputed.
True, but at the same time, piggybacking off what you said, also on top of that is the fact that since no one forces him, he could have just said, "Well, I don't want to be undisputed here," and avoided Benitez. This is the only situation where he has to fight Benitez because he's the mandatory contender of the WBC.
Once again. Because Benavidez is mandatory, so was Triple G. So was Triple G, and Canelo vacated that belt. He said, "Keep the fucking belt. I'm not doing it."
If he vacates here, then it shows that he doesn't want to fight him to begin with. Go ahead, recognize.
Well,
No,
not that he just
since
straight
Benitez-
vacant him. I just moved to 175. I'm sorry.
Hold on. Benitez would have been too small and old for him. Benavidez. What is what we're talking about? You kept saying Benitez.
Same shit.
And how do we know he snorted the cocaine and didn't smoke it? Let's be fair. We can't, just yes.
Jimmy's always being fair, man. You gotta
I
give
couldn't
it.
give a shit what these guys do out of the ring. I mean, I
Yeah, I
could
know,
fucking care less. I don't know how you fail a cocaine test. That's impossible. I mean, you have to.
It sounds like he probably did it that day. That's the only conclusion.
Yeah, 48 hours. It's like,
Wait,
goddamn.
how long does it stay in the system?
Cocaine doesn't have a long shelf life in your body.
48 hours.
Like 3 days, right? 3 days?
Well, yeah. If you're taking a piss test, you want to go you want to make sure it's more than 72 hours. But if it's like blood, it can be up to a week. Hair follicle, you're fucked. That's just
They're not taking any of that shit. Listen, he failed and he admitted as much. He just said he's 24 years old. He's having a good time. Out of your nose, enjoy yourself. The thing is that he got penalized for it, and that's it. So all I'm saying is nothing to do with last night. I thought he looked off last night. I got him beating Canelo Alvarez, man.
No.
I'm saying. I want to say this.
You sound like an Italian.
If you look at their style, right? Look at the person who's had the most success with Benavidez is Gabriel circling him very, very tight, letting Benavidez keep that wide stance, keep loading up, and he could not adjust to Gabriel circling him and pivoting. He even caught him with a flash knockdown because of it. He got his feet tied up and then flashed him.
Good point.
So it's like Canelo's not going to do that shit. His fucking upper body movement is very, very good, but his feet are fucking just the same as they always were, sitting there. He ain't gonna fucking pivot around him like that. And listen, he's not gonna. Let's talk about Benavidez's physique, his dedication. If you're Canelo, you're coming up from 54. You can pack on 15 pounds of fucking muscle. If I put up 15 pounds of muscle on David Benavidez chemically, he could not make 168. You dig? His frame cannot take any more weight, muscle or fat. He can't come in looking like fucking Manny Pacquiao fighting Margarito, all right? Until he moves up. All right. That's how it is. What it is. So it's
We're talking about Canelo, right? But you're talking about Canelo.
Benavidez. He said if you put
Benavidez, man.
Yeah, you put on 15 pounds, and he's right about that. If you do put fucking 15 pounds of muscle on Benavidez, he's not 168 pounder. He's probably a cruiserweight. He'll probably have to go up to light heavyweight.
We're talking about training and getting in shape, not putting muscle
that Cuban
on.
link on. No, yeah, I'm just saying. You mentioned his physique, right? You mentioned just the shape of him or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm saying I'm saying this. Be cognizant of the fact that Canelo or Manny Pacquiao, whoever, fill in the blank, when they're fighting at their, career weight, their beginning weight, as they ascend the weight classes, Manny Pacquiao can put on all this muscle. So can Canelo. He can fucking get it. He can get jacked. Looks great, right? But Benavidez at this point in time cannot put on 5 pounds of muscle and still make 68. It's that close.
No.
He's that big of a guy.
No one said anything about putting on muscle at all. So we're talking about getting in shape and trimming down, which is what most fighters do anyway.
Okay, well,
So
I'm just
what
saying,
he needs to do is that.
you see him
That's what I'm
gassing?
saying
You
about
see him
his success.
gassing, or you see him? He's telling you he's running 7 miles a fucking day. Like, what do you want? Like, let Canelo beat his ass. Then he hasn't fought nobody. Let him fight Canelo somebody. Let's go.
Listen, the thing about
I'll say
Why
this.
is it that
If
you and I
Canelo
sound
doesn't
like
want
we
it-
go round and round with arguments, but we're saying the same thing every time we talk?
Now, listen, can I
Because
just?
we're not. Because we're not.
We're always on the
Because we're
same
not.
page, yet we're still arguing. I don't get it. One of us
Listen,
has
I'm
got
not
this apparently
arguing.
wrong, and I'm pretty sure it's
I'm
not
not
me.
I'm not arguing with you. You're right, all right? I'm wrong, you're right. But let me say this. If Canelo doesn't want that fight, then don't fucking beg him for it. I mean, like, it is what it
Bring
is.
Charlo. Fuck that Charlo. Like you said, Pete. Charlo. Both guys are on the PBC. Charlo is a big middleweight. Let's be honest. Let's not fucking play that fucking
And he's
game.
talking about moving up.
He's
think
talking
Canelo-
about Let's
Hey,
fucking
Bucho,
do it.
Bucho.
There's nobody else.
Bucho,
This is a
I
fucking
think-
business.
Exactly.
We want to. This is a business.
Bucho.
This is the people that fights people want to see. We don't want to see Benavidez against somebody else just because apparently we can make the Charlo fight happen. You can make that happen. Stop with excuses. Just make that fight
I think
happen.
Canelo's
100%
fighting. I think
behind him
Canelo.
with him.
I think Canelo's fighting. I think Canelo's fighting Charlo next. I think that's going to happen. There's a lot of talks about that. Yeah.
Just for
I'm
the
no fan of Charlo. I'm no fan of Charlo, but why would you go up to 68 and then take on either one of those two guys? Unless you're a total suicide.
Well, Benavidez called out Charlo first. He was the first one to call out. I mean, Charlo called out Benavidez, and he responded to him saying, "Okay, I'll even meet you at a catch weight." He'll even go to. He said he'd go to 165, and then Charlo said, "Well, you need to get vaccinated. No, I'm not fighting anybody under 24 years old. But if he is going up to 168, like Bucho said, it's the PBC. Make the fight. Otherwise, know what it looks like? Dudes taking on the easiest possible competition until they get the fucking Canelo sweepstakes. I just like to see. That's why I'd like to see. Yeah, I'd like to see fucking Charlo. Like, here's an eliminator. All right, here's the fucking, because if you don't beat Benavidez, you're not going to beat Canelo. So. Right, and vice versa. So let them two fucking clash there, fucking go at it, and then the winner goes. And I just want to say one more thing. I think BDA is Italian. He does one of the best toes I've ever heard anybody do.
I'm telling you, it's a Canadian Italian.
Oh! Listen, I'm not Italian, but I think I've watched. Yeah, I think I've watched too much Goodfellas and The Sopranos, and that's why I just.
What are you doing?
All right, listen. Well, anyway, the point is this.
I don't know if I'm not getting that King Cole over here.
The point is, you guys listen. Charlo said after the Benavidez said after the fight last night. He says he called Charlo a pussy, pretty much. And I think Bucho has a point. Hey, Charlo's he's been talking about moving up, like Jimmy said. He's been calling him out. Make the fight happen. I know the Charlo fans would probably, if he gets his ass kicked, which is probably what's going to happen, they're going to say, "Oh, he couldn't acclimatize himself first at 168." Who cares? Let's do it. Now, if it's Charlo Canelo, like Recognize is saying, it might happen. Wow, that fight, just for the drama outside the ring, especially here in the YouTube boxing community, because the people that support Charlo, they know he's not really good enough to beat Canelo, and they've sort of abandoned him a little bit.
He will quit against Canelo. Watch.
No,
if that fight happens,
if that fight happens,
he's gonna quit. He's gonna quit on Canelo. You'll see.
His corner will quickly turn into Andrade's corner. If you're doing good, just keep surviving. You'll hear words similar to that.
He won't do good. He's gonna end up tiring out. And
it'll be the event that gets him. It won't necessarily be everything Canelo does, and not to take away what Canelo will do to him to try and win. But again, these guys don't have the same thing that Canelo's got, of this aura about them to be able to sense the magnitude of these situations. They get in these situations and they box well within themselves for a little bit, but then everything gets to them. The crowd, the pressure from Canelo, the pressure of the fight, the pressure of the event, the fact that leading up to the event, it all gets to them. And I think it would get to Charlo also.
I agree, but this is the more, you see, I think with Charlo, what he's understanding is like, dude, I'm gonna eventually get beat by one of these guys. Like, I was looking at the Mungia versus Rosado fight, and I was like, if for some reason they ever put the fucking stupid politics on the side and they fought, Mungia could probably beat this dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, Mungia could beat him. Maybe even Rosado could give him a good fucking fight and probably upset him. Like, there's a lot of dudes that could beat him. Might as well just cash out. That's I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I'm not advising him that. I'm saying if you're not going to fight nobody,
that's what he's.
If you're not going to fight, if you're not going to fight nobody and you're just looking for the big paydays, cash out now.
I think PBC's in the phase of about to do that. I mean, because look what they're doing with Porter. They don't have anybody else to recycle him with. So what are they doing? Selling him out. What's the next step? They can probably keep Ugas in house, so they probably will. And if they can keep that in house with Spence, if he can keep his belts minus his whatever injury sidelines he's going to be, they'll do that. But before too long, they're going to cash Spence out, and they're definitely going to cash out the younger. They're definitely going to cash out the younger Charlo really quickly, because he's not making them any money. And what does it matter if you lock down a dead division where nobody really cares? Who cares about 154? Raise your hand. Exactly. Moving on. So there's really nothing else left. So, and all these guys are all the same age. They're all right at 32. They're going to close in on 33 pretty soon, or 31 on 32. And within a year from now, when they haven't made any real significant fights, they're all going to be, you're going to blink and they're going to be 33 years old. And so what are you going to do with them all? And so we might as well take Jamal Charlo and cash him in with Canelo because there's a paycheck. All right. So what are you going to do with Jamel? I don't know. Jaron Ennis is going to be brought into this eventually to try and cash out some of these guys if he's actually what we think he is, or some of us, Frank and I, think he is. But they're at a stage where they're going to have to start cashing these guys in because they're not getting any younger. They're definitely never going to get any better.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's a good point. I mean, somebody in the chat said that Charlo's afraid of. I don't know if it's true or not. He's saying there's a rumor that he said in private that he's obsessed with keeping his O, and that therefore he doesn't want to fight anyone that's a threat.
He said in private.
Yeah, in private. Yeah, he told it to the guy who came up. Shout out to Amak PvP. Yeah, I heard. Shout out to Amak PvP for his contribution with the super chat. Says Canelo is no Matt Kobrov. Late stoppage possible. I mean, I don't know. We have to see them in the ring, man, and I don't know if that's gonna happen. But in regards to Benavidez, all right, so enough about Benavidez. I mean, if it's going to be interesting to see who they match him up with next, or who Canelo picks up next for his. Because he said before the plant fight, they were talking about the possibilities were Golovkin. I think it was Golovkin, Benavidez, Bivol, or Beterbiev at 175, both those guys. So I think that's what they want. I don't know if the Charlo fight would happen, but if it does, it would be entertaining. I want to talk about.
Sorry.
No, go ahead, man, because I want to move on to the...
No shame on that motherfucker. No shame talking about GGG at 40 years old. Fucking cocksucker.
Yeah, it's a bit too late.
Around for all those years, man. Yeah.
Now he's calling him out.
Hey, of course. Yeah. You are next, my friend.
Yeah, you're next. Why did he... Why no immediate rematch? That's what I never got. But anyway, I wanted to say that the Martinez fight, I want to talk about the Kiko Martinez fight, taking out... What's his name? Kiko Martinez against Kid Galahad. I mean, I didn't even watch that fight because I assumed, fucking Martinez, he's older. I don't think I think he's going to get outboxed. And for the most part, that's what was happening. All of a sudden, I'm reading the Discord. Whoopsie daisy. Martinez knocks him out drops him with a big overhand right. The round ends. They start again the next one. As soon as the bell rings, he walks to Galahad, same punch, flattens him out. And Kiko Martinez, guys, from now on, this year has been filled with upsets. And every fight that remains on the docket here, even if it's an upset of the highest proportions, I'm still going to watch it because you just never know this year, man. So, hey, it brings us to Porter Crawford next. Porter Crawford.
Oh, boy.
That's how some people are saying. Some people
I'm
are
not
saying,
sensing an upset in that one.
You're not sensing an upset in that one? Are you sure about that, Chief? Are you sure?
On Crawford and Porter? Yeah, because you're going to have power to beat Bud, and Porter doesn't have it.
Hey, Shadow Combat says Morita knocks out Triple G because it's the year of the upsets. Hey, you just never know, man. I'm not going to disagree with anybody.
That one I can see. I mean, I'm not pulling for it. I'm not picking for it. And I don't want it to happen. But if there's an upset between Morita and Triple G or Porter and Crawford, I'm leaning towards Triple G to be upset.
Porter Crawford is the fight that I think Crawford's gonna play into Crawford's hands, Porter's style.
Yeah.
But if it goes on the inside, Crawford doesn't really have that great an inside game. He likes to clinch on the inside.
He does like to clinch, but he's also got good uppercuts. And Porter stands square. He squares his feet. He squares his shoulders. He squares every part of his body. He doesn't turn any punches over. He doesn't use his hips. He throws with his arms and his shoulders. He's like Jesus Chavez and Jesse James Leha and those guys. They throw big shots, but they're winding through the shoulder. They don't turn into them. They don't turn them over. That's why they don't have any power. They wear you down, and they wear down and stop B-plus competition, if that. Because let's face it, was it Diaz, Julio Diaz? Yeah, it was not even B-plus competition by the time they faced 20 rounds against each other, and the kid never went down. Andrew Manfredi floored him at lightweight. He got knocked out in one round at lightweight. But he goes welterweight, tooth and nail with a former middleweight. I'm not buying the fact he's got world-class power.
Absolutely.
Can he hurt you through strength? Like, instead of power, but strength. And I don't know how to explain that. I know it when I see it. I don't know how to explain it. But yes, he can stun you with his big shots when you're not seeing where they're going, especially when he spins off the ropes like he did against Spence. Difference is, I don't think Spence knew what he was getting ready for. Spence saw the Ugas fight and thought what a lot of other people did of, this guy's on the downside, I'm the A side, I can take this guy out. Oh, wait, he can take my punch. Oh, he's got some skill. What am I going to do now? I'm bit down my mouthpiece? Some people thought he won, recognizing I don't think he did. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Spence got the win.
Well,
the point being, he's not fighting a guy that's that predictable anymore.
I'm
sorry, BD. That was my point.
Well, because we're going to talk about that more this week as we get closer to the fight, and we're going to bring some clips in. But I will say you're right about Porter not being a big puncher. But when I was talking about inside game, when Porter comes in, that's when Crawford's going to have room for the uppercuts. But on the inside, from what I've seen against Beltran and against Horn, you make it past his reach, he'll just grab you, man. And if he catches with you the uppercut, he'll grab you again. He's not a chest-to-chest type fighter, so it'll be interesting to see what happens. We'll talk about that fight more in the coming weeks in the next episode. I wanted to talk about so Martinez, Galahad. Apparently, some people were saying Galahad could beat Navarrete, and I mean, obviously Navarrete never beat him, but some people are saying that it would have gone along the same way. That eventually Navarrete would have caught Galahad. What do you guys think about that?
I can see that.
By the way, Elwin Castillo in the chat says, my link isn't showing. Did you get a BDA? I don't know what link you're talking about. My link isn't showing. So I mean, just year of the upset. You just never know what's going to happen next. Also, speaking of, you just never know what's going to happen next or things you wish didn't happen next. Amir Khan and Kell Brook are talking about fighting each other next.
Now we're talking.
I mean, listen, I know some people are going to say, BD, why are you even bringing this up? I still think it's an interesting fight. It's a grudge match. I think both guys have enough to make it an interesting fight between them. Forget about fighting younger guys. At least between them, they can. And if it's a 154 and they don't, Kell Brook doesn't have to kill himself and look like a Somalian refugee in the weigh-in, I think it could be a nice little fight. And you guys, let me know if I'm wrong. I still think Kell Brook hits harder, and he probably fucking takes apart that fragile chin of Khan's.
Well, Khan never wanted that fight to begin with for the very reason that you said. Well, Khan may have not won. His people didn't want it. I'm not going to call Khan out be a coward, but I don't know how to make that statement. Whether I'm going to stick by it or not, I don't know. Who didn't want the fight remains to be seen. It didn't happen. It was largely due to Khan's side of the negotiations. Whether it was his people, whether it was him, we don't fully know. But he did always make it sound like he was dismissing Brook as, you're less than me. I don't have to fight you, only because Mayweather mentioned me as a possible final opponent. If you remember that time frame, he'd already lost to Danny Garcia, and he didn't do much since. And ever since then, he thought he was, just because Mayweather mentioned his name as a possible retirement opponent, he thought he was better than Kell Brook. And he has ever since.
Yeah, that's what
it wasn't by any accomplishment since the Danny Garcia fight. Ever since Danny knocked him out, he didn't do anything, but he still thought he was better.
Yeah, I remember Stu would say that he would complain about Khan about that. Like Khan would, he would be delusional about the options he had. Like, oh yeah, the Mayweather fight, it's there for me if I want it. And it's like, wait, what? It's almost like if it was a given that if he said yes to the fight, it would happen. Or that it was an offer in the first place. I don't know. He was insane. Hey, real quick, we got a phone call. We got a phone call here before the phone lines close. 301. 301. There's a lot of background noise, man. 301. Okay, are you there?
Hello?
Yeah, are you there? You're on the air, man.
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Hey, what's up, guys? A lot of good topics. I guess I'll just kind of briefly say what I saw last night in Benavidez. I mean, other than Mungia Rosado being a great fight, I don't have too many thoughts on that beyond that. Benavidez's footwork was really problematic for me. I noticed at the end of the second round, Tyron Davis is able to muscle him out and kind of counter him off the ropes. So that's going to be a big problem against someone like Canelo, someone that has physical strength. He looks a little weak in the legs, and he doesn't step all that right. And but he does have a good straight right hand. But he needs to work on his ability to cut the ring off a bit better, I feel like, to be more effective. Beyond just bludgeoning someone until they get tired. Anyway, though, you mentioned a really interesting topic, which is Crawford's inside game, which I have some thoughts on. I think you're right. He's not really a typical chest-to-chest fighter, but he has some of the best stand-up wrestling I've seen, other than maybe Stephen Fulton in the game right now. And he's really able to manipulate his opponents, put them where he wants to, and kind of, land the shots that he needs to land. So I actually think, inside-wise, that's where Porter might have the worst of it in this fight. But who knows? I mean, I think Crawford can neutralize that kind of head-first style, though, and his uppercuts are pretty good on the way in. So
absolutely,
this will definitely be an interesting matchup from that perspective. So kind of curious in your thoughts
great
there.
points. Yeah, great points, man. Yeah, I think that he does have good wrestling game. I mean, you watch the Beltran fight, how Crawford would grab him and then spin him away and to the ropes. I mean, yeah, man, it's... By the way, okay, caller, I'm going to have to hang up on you because there's a lot of background noise. I hear shopping carts there, so thank you for your points, man. Excellent
sorry,
points.
yeah, I'm cooking. Yeah, my bad.
No problem.
All right, well, thanks. Have
Are you
a
at
good
the
time,
Astro?
Jack.
Are you at the Astro World concert?
Bye.
What'd you say, Pete?
I asked him if he was at the Astro World concert.
Oh,
Hey,
no, I didn't hear anybody giving CPR, so no, he was probably...
Thank you, Al Heyman. That's Live Nation. Thank you, Al.
Oh,
hey,
is that
yeah, Live Nation. That's it.
Oh,
my man
right.
Al. Come on in. Now, let me say one thing. Crawford's just going to, he's just going to safely outbox Porter. I mean, he's just going to he's going to win a unanimous decision, and he's going to look underwhelming doing it. He's not going to drop Porter. He's not going to fucking go for it because he sticks his chin up in the air. And Porter does come forward, like kind of like Chief was saying, like he's got that football footwork, not boxing footwork. It's like me. It's like you're a goon when you get into a fight. You just fucking rush them.
Hey, Pete, can we talk about this fight later on in the week, man?
Oh yeah, of course. Sorry.
But I mean, yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah, but I mean, save those points for during the week when we're gonna. And you know what? If you guys got any clips that you want me, let's say you're picking Porter, right? And you say, "Well, I'm picking him because of this." Let me know which clips are certain or backing up your assertion, rather, and I'll be sure to try to find them and put them up here. We got a phone call here. Let's go to 956. You're on the air. 956. What's on your mind?
Hey, what's up, man? I want to say great performance by Mungia. I'm telling you right now, man, Mungia is a future superstar. What's going to happen is Triple G is going to stop Murata in Japan. They're going to make Triple G Mungia in Cinco de Mayo in May, right? Mm-hmm. And it'll be an entertaining fight. It'll be a great fight, but Mungia stops him late. Mungia stops Triple G late. That will be the start of a star. Then what? Mungia will move up and give Canelo a great fight. But there's a reason why Canelo says he doesn't want to. There's a reason why Canelo says he doesn't want to fight Mexicans, because Mexicans aren't scared of that weak ass shit, man. You think dude, Mungia is from Tijuana? You think he's scared of a fucking ginger, man?
I like how he goes.
You think Mungia's scared of a 5'7" ginger?
I like how he goes. Mungia's gonna stop Triple G. Then what? Like he's calling people
they're
out.
They're gonna hang Canelo off the tier on the fourth floor.
Oh, come on!
They're gonna hang him
man,
upside
geez,
down. That's right.
Come on, man.
I'm red on the outside, but I'm brown on the inside. No, you're not.
Hey, I'm hearing Mexicans are saying Mungia is a more entertaining guy than Canelo. His fights are better than Canelo, man. Mungia is the superstar. He's the future of Mexico, man.
He's the future of Mexico. Well, I tell you what, man. I think he's entertaining. I don't think he's better than Canelo. Just because you're more entertaining doesn't mean you're better. But
no, no. He's not better. No.
Right.
Canelo's better, definitely. But Mungia Canelo will be a good fight because I don't think Mungia is going to be scared. You know what I'm saying? Mexicans aren't scared of those fucking counters, man. You can scare the fucking British people with counter. You know, you're not going to scare Mungia or Zurdo. They're not going to be scared of that shit. They might lose, but they're going to bring a good fight. You know what I'm saying?
I sort of get what you're saying. Yeah, and listen, interesting point. We were all excited for some of the potential fights that could be done on middleweight. So, interesting call. We do have to move on, but thank you for your points, and we'll catch you in the next one. All right, man?
Viva la raza.
Take it easy, man. Yeah, he's bringing that Sunday energy, man. He's going to beat Triple G. Then what? What's up with it? All right, let's go to...
Red-headed bitch.
Let's go to... Hold on a second. 405, you're on the air. 405, what's on your mind?
Times.
Hey, BDA, how you guys doing?
Doing fantastic, man. Thank you for calling in.
Like shit. So.
Hey, man, I just want to start off by saying, man, what a freaking year so far, man.
Absolutely.
Man, it's been a good year for boxing, man. I've been nothing but happy, man. I love the activity from all the fighters. I just want to see the best fight the best, man. I really want to see Spence and Crawford 2022, man.
Well, for all the great fights we've had in 2021, I think you're getting your hopes up a little bit too much for that one. It's just, I'm getting the superstitious feeling here that it's just not going to happen. Ever. Or if it does happen, it might be
No, man, I agree, man. No, man, I agree 100%, man. It should have happened before the accident with Errol Spence, man. But, I could always keep my hopes up, man. Just like I want to see that Benavidez and Canelo fight. I think it'd be very entertaining. I think Canelo stops him late, but Benavidez is a warrior, man.
He sure is. He's all action, man. He's all action for sure. But let me ask you, what's your the best fight you want to see for Canelo next? What's the fight you would like to see next?
In all honesty, man, look, I've looked from 160 to 175. The most entertaining fight, in my opinion, is Benavidez and Canelo. I think stylistically, that's a great freaking fight. I do think that Charlo would be an entertaining fight just because of the LDBC and all the biased channels that keep saying that Canelo's a duck. But, man, I would really like to see that Benavidez fight, man. I think I would actually favor Benavidez in that fight.
All right. Well, yeah, that sounds good. That would be a war for as long as it goes, I believe. Or unless Canelo fights Beterbiev the way he fought Triple G the first one, and he might lose that one then. But listen, 405, we're going to move on, but thank you for your call. Interesting points. And yes, 2021 has been a good year, man. Hope you enjoy the rest of it.
All right, BDA, thank you so much, man. And I have a quick question, man. Who's your top fighter, pound for pound, right now?
I'd have to go with Canelo, man, so far.
All right, man. Thank you so much. Have a great one.
Thank you. You too. But I will say, I think the guy who, if you give him the most fights, I think Usyk overall is the guy that I see the hardest to beat. All right.
That's the skin color we're talking about.
All right. Real quick.
You got the same skin tone. What are you talking about?
Fellas, real quick.
Egg roll.
Fellas, real quick. Shout out to Not for his contribution to the Super Chat. Says Jason Quigley will upset Andrade on Friday. Oh, come on. I mean, I know it's the year of the upset. Not.
I hope so.
Oh, come on. But shout out to Not for his contribution, man. Really appreciate it. 407, you're on the air. 407, what's on your mind?
Orlando.
Hey, so to the caller previous to the last, I just want to say that, first off, Jaime Mungia is in no way a superstar. He has no fucking chance. He beat Rosado. Good for him. It was a kind of a close fight. He was taking big shots from Rosado. He got hurt a couple of times. What if he fights a real champion? He's getting blasted.
But did you hear the confidence the caller had when he said it, though? I mean, that's got to count for something, doesn't it?
I did hear that. I did hear that.
No, but you're right. I mean, look.
He asked you a question. Then what? Answer his question.
Then what? He gets dropped by a right hand.
Well, what would you? I'm curious.
A real right hand, not from a gatekeeper journeyman like Rosado.
Yeah, and he couldn't even take him out and drop it. So, but I'm curious, what's the next move for Mungia? What should it be? Let's say you're his manager, his promoter. What would you do with Mungia right now?
He needs a title fight, right? He should fight. You got a whole list. You got winner of Golovkin Murata. You got Charlo. You got Andrade. For him, I think he should take Andrade. Really, Andrade's had really shitty performances recently. He's won close fights, and he's shown that pressure really is, it's like the chink in his armor, I guess, because he wasn't able to pull off all that fake, slick bullshit he does.
Mm-hmm.
I think Mungia is not deterred by getting punched, obviously. So he'll just walk him down and throw punches. Whether he wins or not, I don't know, but I think that'd be a good fight.
Yeah, that's a good point, man. Stylistically, you're saying he's at least he's gonna be. I mean, but I tell you what, though, he better put smarter pressure than Liam Williams did, because Williams would just rush quickly,
right.
But he wasn't setting up anything, so it allowed Andrade to just clinch him.
Right, he would smother himself.
Yeah. So, but I mean, hey, listen, Andrade, it makes sense what you're saying. He's not a big puncher, so there's no real danger that that Mungia could get caught. Because if you put him in there against Golovkin and or Charlo, those guys can hit
they're gonna. The thing is, Mungia is obviously the kind of guy that says, "Hey, I'm gonna go into the trenches. I'm gonna swing while you swing."
Mm-hmm.
Well, the difference is, Mungia does not have, this eliminating power that guys like Charlo and Golovkin have shown. Golovkin more so. And, Golovkin might not be the one-punch knockout artist, but Mungia is the kind of guy that actually takes punches repeatedly, and that's, he's just going to get demolished.
Well, there you have it, man. I mean, listen, as long as he fights top competition, that's all I'm asking for. And hopefully now they start...
He's in exciting fights, whether he's a superstar or not doesn't matter to me, but he's in good fights.
Yeah, that's a whole other thing there. But anyway, listen, 407, good points, man. Good points, and call back next episode, all right, man?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, man. Yeah, don't forget, man, when we do the open panels, all of you guys that call in, you can join the Discord, man. You don't have to validate it with an email address or anything like that. You do need an email address, but you don't need to go to that email address to put a code in or something. All you get to put in an email address, a password, memorize it, boom, you're in. And you enjoy the Discord, and you can come in on the open panels, man. So shout out to everybody that's been there, everyone that's been joining. Everybody, hit the like, fellas. Hit the like. Really helps us out if you're enjoying the show. Also, I wanted to say, okay, so back to the whole... while we're talking about Benavidez, you guys want to talk about Benavidez, or you want me to mention this whole Usyk-Joshua thing that's been coming out
I have
now?
one thing to say about it.
Sure.
I don't
It's
have to
your
be right
show.
now, but I have something to say about Benavidez. Not to be now or later, but
Go ahead, Pete. What's going on?
oh no, I'm just saying. I just hope people don't think that, Benavidez, man. The thing about Canelo is not the chase. If the fucking guy wants to fight, he can fight whoever he wants at this point. But Benavidez is going to be there 68 all the way through 75. So he's going to be in front of Canelo for the rest of his career, unfortunately for Canelo. And he's not. If you think Canelo's going to lay on the ropes like he did against Plant when Benavidez is in front of him, you think Benavidez is going to lay on the ropes like Caleb Smith did and let Canelo just tee off on his elbows and his arms? It's just going to be a different scenario. They're both in the same boat, except for Triple G. Canelo's 50-50 fights have been TT, very little.
Yeah.
You can't find anywhere close to 50-50.
The
So the same thing you're pitching about Benavidez, you said about Canelo, man. Except for Triple G.
That's a good point. That's why people have been saying that his opposition is weak. Those guys can't hit hard enough to dissuade him. So Benavidez, man, I think even though with a limited opposition he's fought, you can tell he's taking them out. Those guys can't handle it after 8 rounds. They're mostly worn down. So we would have to see what happens there. But by the way,
against Canelo to throw less shots. That's all.
Yeah, exactly.
I just rewatched the fight. He can't throw that many punches. He can't open himself up. He should just throw less and put more on the ones he does throw.
Good
this
point,
is Benavidez?
Yes.
Yeah,
Like,
he's
he's not going to be able to stand there.
That lead right hand is just, he's not fast enough to do that bullshit. Diving at somebody with a lead right hand. Use your fucking jab. You know what I mean? Like, use your head and use your jab.
By the way,
Just in there winging shots.
that Astro World joke. I'm still laughing about it.
I'm giving free tickets out, complimentary front row seats to the next Astro World concert to people I hate.
I talked about it in the suicide stream, how now the lawyers are coming out, the vultures, and boy, there's going to be some payouts going on. But hey, I want to talk about Usyk-Joshua. Apparently now they're speculating about when it's going to happen, whatever. Eddie Hearn is saying that it could take place by early April at the latest. Early April. So why so late? I mean, we're already in November here.
Yeah,
why not March? I mean, it's the fight. They've already had about a month here of rest. Let's go. What's going on? Why making it so late?
PD cycle.
PD
What are you talking about? Which fight?
Usyk versus Joshua, the rematch. Eddie Hearn is saying.
What about Charlo Castano? What about that? That just fell by the wayside. That should have been ran back right away.
Exactly. What the fuck? What's going on here with this? That was in July, right, Jimmy?
Yeah, that was months ago. They should be fucking going into training camp for that. That fight was a razor-thin fight. I mean, I don't know. It's nuts. It just goes to show you PBC. They just don't. There's a reason they have to find guys brought up by other outfits to sell 800,000 pay-per-views. That's all I'm going to say.
No, you're right, man. Hey, Jimmy, what's right is right, man.
Lions only.
Hold on a second.
What did Bucho say about PEDs? Bucho, say it. Dígame.
Hey, I can't find my Jimmy "What's right is right" quote. What the fuck?
I'm sorry. I don't mean to offend you. I'm sorry too.
I don't know where it is. Anyway, otherwise it would have been perfect, man. Jimmy, "What's right is right." Yeah, the
No, Jimmy, what's right is right, Jimmy.
Stop
just
it. Now
saying.
you're just making fun of me.
Just a little. It was just a little. Sorry, Pete. Go.
No, I'm just saying, King Bucho, the creator, he had a PED comment. He was whispering it. Give it
No,
to
I'm
us.
just saying. So maybe they're like Josh is doing some PEDs and the cycle, and they need enough time for it to work. I don't know. I'm just fucking making shit up.
Yeah, but I mean, he was. We're gonna say
Makes
he was.
sense.
Yeah, I mean, he wasn't against Usyk the first time, or he's
Yeah,
gonna
he already was last night.
He's
Man,
So you need
that's
time to
fine.
clear your system. If that's the case, you would need time to let
You
it clear your
guys are
system.
being irresponsible. Allegedly.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
allegedly. Yeah, that's what.
Allegedly,
Yeah,
allegedly.
We gotta learn that lawyer talk much better.
Yeah.
That's right.
It's not going to be a problem with these guys being both under her. Don't worry about the PEDs, boys. Go ahead and take your
No, the
vitamins.
fight's happening, but I think wait till April. You know what I mean? Like, come on.
Well, I do have
Because he
to.
wants to. You go.
Pete, it says April at the latest. So now that I think about it, the latest means it could be.
Okay,
beforehand.
the latest.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, the latest could be May for them.
Oh, come on. Well, yeah, with all these fucking.
Guys,
Yes.
if I have to make I suspect that they're setting it off like that because they want to entertain offers from the Gypsy King to have AJ step aside.
Huh.
Yeah.
Well.
I don't know what the significance
would
of
be
April
smart
is.
to do that though. Her would be
Very
smart because unlike Wilder, who should have stepped aside when instead of fighting Fury a third time, maybe Joshua should step aside and not fight Usyk again, and maybe wait. And what if Fury beats Usyk? Then I think Joshua has a better chance of beating Fury than Usyk. So
I think the WBC would strip Fury because I think they're really high on him. Fighting is mandatory. You know what I mean? That's all. I'm just not to be a fucking throw a wet blanket on it, but
Dylan
I
White,
think Dylan White. He's been waiting a long time. I know Wilder avoided him for a long time, and then what's his name hasn't fought him either.
Yeah, but WBC, they got no shame.
Yeah, guys, just forget about unifying all the belts. That's never gonna happen. Well, not never, but it's not gonna happen anytime soon. All right, it's too many things going on here, like contenders and all that stuff. 4 belts, it's too many belts to be unified on. It's very difficult.
Yeah, leave the belts alone. I don't. Yeah, people keep bringing up the belts. These guys. Remember William Joppy when he was gonna fight Trinidad? So 3-time or was it 2-time at the time? 2-time middleweight champion.
He was a 3-time WBA middleweight champion. He was like a 3-time the same belt.
John Ruiz too, man. It's like 2-time heavyweight champs. Like, stop it! What are we doing here?
I mean, Holyfield is called a 4-time heavyweight champion, but in reality, he's a 3-time heavyweight champion. He's not a 4th-time. That a 4th time is when he beat Ruiz for that WBA belt that he took away from Lennox Lewis.
Yeah.
So he was
Keep track of this shit, man.
I'm glad Chief.
Rain Man, I keep track of this shit.
I'm glad Chief had to drop out of that when you mentioned Holyfield, because then he would have said he would have gone into an in-depth discussion about why he wasn't the 4-time world champion. I was like, all right, hold on. We really want to go down the record.
It's hard ER time. Now, listen, the thing about it is, Usyk, I think, would have been better served. I think he could have done what he did to AJ at any time. He really could have got paid a serious a big check, big check to step aside for that Fury and AJ fight. He could have got paid a fucking monster check. But at this point, I think either one of them would. I don't know what the rush is to fight. I don't know why Hearn did it in the first. Turn those two guys up like.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of fucking retarded. But I think Fury. If they fight, they fight.
Speaking of the heavyweights, because again we're bringing Fury up, and I want to get your point of view on this. And Jimmy, I'll start with you. This according to MMAmania.com. Fury versus Wilder 3 pay-per-view buys. Domestic hold falls well below expectations. They have a quote here from Bob Arum before the second fight. Or before the third fight, he says, I think it performs better, he's talking about the rubber match, than the second one on pay-per-view, and that's because Tyson has become a huge star in the United States. People of all ethnic groups, he says, all ethnic groups really get a kick out of him. So that fight did 850K pay-per-view buys. This one, they're reporting under 600,000, and they had to split the pay-per-view revenue between ESPN and Fox Sports. So, Jimmy, what's going on here? Pay-per-view, is it dead?
Well, according to Smellerby, it's like, did you see the tweet he put in after fucking, did 800,000? Canelo was like, this just goes to show you pay-per-view is the platform to be. And then, and that Steven Espinoza is the one. And he was trying to credit Showtime, and Steven Espinoza like, what? Shut the fuck up. You mean Canelo. This was Canelo. Look at the fucking all the fights the pay-per-views guys been putting on before that. First off, you have to lie about the numbers, but the best, Spence's numbers all went down 50,000 each time. They're all hovering around 250, 200,000. Canelo does 800,000, and it's Espinoza's getting props for it. But anyways, listen, do you remember the collective groan when that fight was announced, when Wilder won the arbitration? Nobody needed to see that. That was just literally a fight to shut up a bunch of delusionary weirdos who thought the fight, for all those other reasons, it went down the way it did. That was the only benefit of that fight was for that, and I think it was reflective in the buys.
Absolutely, yeah. Because like you said, if boxing fans aren't interested in it, it's very unlikely that the casuals are going to be in it as well. Now, 600,000 is better than 300,000, which is like top featherweights would do, with the Mexican families and all that. That's usually where they're top at. But, they're reporting that it's underwhelming, especially with they say, here's the interesting thing. They say, even with the Gates sales in excess of 10 million, the best case scenario has Fury versus Wilder 3 breaking even after factoring in the guaranteed purses and production costs, as well as the aggressive marketing campaign that was forcibly extended after the Gypsy King contracted COVID. So...
what article? Who wrote that again? Could you repeat that?
This is from MMA Mania, and it's by Jesse Holland.
Okay.
You want the link? I'll put it on the.
Yes. Could you post that? Yeah, that'd be. Yeah, I'd like to check that out. Thank you.
All right, there it is in the Discord chat, and man. So what do you guys think about that? This whole thing about how pay-per-view, it's where it's at. Has it been proven that it's not the place where it's at?
Well, streaming is at an all-time high. Pirating. Just think about this: 800,000 people bought, domestically bought the Canelo Plant fight. I would venture to say another 500,000 fucking streamed it.
Oh, that's an interesting estimate. Because think about it, Wilder, for as much as he became, both Fury and Wilder did become more famous after the first fight because of each other, and then after the second fight too. But the third time, it's safe to say that they were more famous than they were in 2018 when they first fought each other. But they're not mainstream stars. Most people outside of boxing don't know who they are. So you put him in a pay-per-view that's already a mismatch on paper, especially after the letdown of the Fury-Joshua fight, which most people expected to happen. Like Jimmy said, you got the illegal streaming. Now, this article too also mentions it's not just the illegal streaming, it's the round-by-round blow analysis that websites like MMA Mania do. And of course, I think they also post on Twitter. I didn't even know about this. They post GIF updates. So every 2 minutes, 3 minutes.
Can you say that one more time, please? Can you repeat that, BDA?
Repeat what?
You
which part?
What? Round by round?
Yeah, like websites like MMA Mania and Sherdog and all that, they'll give you round by round explanations or synopsis of the fight. So they're saying that also prevents. But it's the illegal streaming more than
brutal.
Anything. Yeah, but it's.
Have you ever tried to watch one of those round by round things and refresh and have some faggot type about what's happening? Oh my god.
Well, it's like what BDA is saying. They're talking about like daily motion. They'll put in like they'll within a minute they'll chop it up and have like the highlights of each round, and they're trying to squash that too because a lot of people are doing that. These are all little things that are chipping away at the pay-per-view buys. You know what I mean? And definitely some experts, supposed experts, have it at 60% as being illegally streamed. So that's huge.
If they lower the pay-per-view price, would that help? Obviously,
I believe it would absolutely help. $80. Think about it. Is there anybody here on this chat or anybody even listening who's going to spend $80 to watch Cruz? Tank Cruz.
Yeah, exactly.
Who the fuck? Who's going to pay that? Please, they'll lie about the numbers. I guarantee they'll say it'll do 200,000.
Sure.
No, go Pete.
I'm just saying. You think if they lower the price in half, that the people would stream it any less. If they're going to steal it, they're going to steal it. No, fuck. Or I'm not paying 80, but if you lower it to 60, I'll pay you. No, I'm just going to get the same link I was going to get.
No, I'd say $29.99.
All right, if you watch it illegally, like it's terrible. Sometimes, like it cuts off. There's so many things.
No, I can't do it. I can't do that shit. I pay for the shit because we're.
Well, exactly what I'm saying, Pete. So I'm pretty sure some people will be like, well, the price is lowered. I'll actually pay for this. I'd rather just watch it HD than on some shitty fucking website. With pop-ups.
Oh, you know what, man, Bucho? I mean, you guys know better than me, but stealing's the wrong term. I mean, this has been going on even in the cable days, But
black box.
I'm just saying, like, let's put it like this. Okay?
Right.
These streams now are not such that they're getting in a rut. I mean, these things, and we're talking about the fight at the same time, and they're just a few seconds behind me. Otherwise, they're. I mean, if you're just sitting at home watching by yourself or one person, I got a house full of people. That's why it's just easier to buy it, But all I'm saying is, if you made it $100, I'd still fucking pay for it. Not Tank. I don't give a fuck about that fight. I'm saying, like, the Canelo Plant fight. If you bumped it up $20, I'd still buy it. And if you lower it $20, they'd still. So I think people are missing, like, someone's got to pay for this shit. Pay-per-view, subscription, take it up the ass from Showtime and HBO monthly. I mean, someone's got to pay for this shit. You got to pay for it somehow or not.
If these fighters fought better fights and better competition, even if they went to UFC style, I believe that would make regular TV get it, and then you could have commercials like it used to do. You know what I mean? It was before pay-per-view. But
I mean, listen,
it's because outrageous prices.
Any other sport that you watch, they're paying. The advertisers are paying the players and the league. You get to watch it for free as long as you'll sit in between quarters.
And some of them, they also pay hundreds of millions of dollars for rights to show them too. Like the NFL gets sick money split between the teams.
It's fucking bidding. You know what I'm saying? It's a war. So all I'm saying is
$60 million each TV rights.
Oh, dude, it's absurd. But my point is that corporations that want to advertise are paid. We're not paying the players. We just get to watch it on broadcast TV. It's the total opposite of this. So like with boxing, it's like you're right, Jimmy. But now we're like in a vicious cycle. Are we going to up the quality of the fights first and hope that people will jump back in, or are we going to just hold out?
Well, the PBC had a chance, right? That was their game plan. They just never put on good enough competition to get anybody juices flowing. Now, here's the problem with dropping it down to $30. I hear that a lot. Like, go at $29.99. A lot of people buy it. Now, here's the problem with that. Then everybody will start putting almost every fight on pay-per-view. Then instead of paying $90 for a great fight once every few months, it's fucking $30 every weekend.
Jimmy, who streams fights here? You stream them, Jimmy? You stream or you buy? Who streams?
No, I've never streamed a fight in my life. I support the fighters I support.
Okay, R. Kelly, you didn't stream. Now let's go to let's bring somebody up like name somebody one MMA champ. All right, MMA champ. The last week's fight was $80 with Canelo. All right. The reason I'm not going to lower it to $40 is because they're betting. They're betting that I'm still going to buy that fight, which I am. I'm going to pay 80 or I'd pay 40. They're relying on MMA champ to pay the 40 rather than get the link and stream it. That's a bad bet. They'd be better served to raise it to 100. Because I'll fucking pay the 100. It's only $20 more, and it's a house full of people. MMA champ will still stream it, no matter if it's $1. It'll stream it.
Well, we don't know that.
All right.
I mean, it's a bet to say, but based on what? I mean, why aren't people buying it in the first place? Because it's too expensive, right?
Why are people not buying it in the first place?
Yeah.
Because they'd rather have whatever the dollar amount in pocket.
Well, we don't know if it's whatever dollar amount. I mean, it could be, Pete, but it could be just that $80 is just a little bit too much for what they would pay, like what they would be willing to pay.
Would you pay $30?
I don't know how you find out. I don't know how you.
Who pays 50? Who pays 50 for Tank? Anybody pay 50?
No.
Nope.
No. Would you pay 40? Would you pay 40? 40?
Yeah, but that fight,
No.
Pete, that
Okay,
fight
30?
pay-per-view at all.
No.
Okay, let's go.
Hit
Let's go.
10.
30?
That's not an
20?
example.
No.
Okay, so you see what I'm saying? There is no price there is no price at which
For a
somebody's going to
Canelo
actually.
fight, there is a price. For a
But
Tank
now,
fight, that's true at all.
My
Yeah.
point is, though, that my point
Well,
is, my point
All right,
though
but
is
now
that
ask Recognize if he would buy that fight if Tank was fighting Lomachenko or
Yeah,
somebody of that
absolutely.
ilk, of course.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to.
Now,
It's
if you
not,
jack up the price on that, I might be a little bit upset, but still buy
I'm
it.
going to buy it. I'm
That's
buying
right.
a Loma
Absolutely.
fight. I'm not buying a Tank fight.
but,
Hey,
but
but-
my point is, that's the reason why nobody's buying the Tank Davis
You go
fight
to
because
Tank,
it's who
when
he's
you go
fighting.
from Tank to a no-hoper, there's the money. I start saying I don't even want to pay for it. Now you put Tank in there with a guy who can possibly beat him, then that money starts getting higher. You know, you can, even though, like, you know, maybe I might be like, fuck this, but damn, I don't want to miss this fight, you know?
The way they scheduled those fights, that fucking Tank fight 2 fights ago was head-to-head with Lomachenko Nakatani on ESPN for free. Let me ask you a question. Who the fuck in their right mind would pay for a pay-per-view to watch Tank versus so-and-so rather than just put on ESPN and watch the goddamn fight on broadcast?
Absolutely.
It's
Yeah,
a prime example. Like, I would have paid $80 to watch Loma and skipped Tank for free. Because
Yeah,
like,
that's-
Well, it's
like,
that's the reason why they fucking honestly, to me, they actually promote this kid like they're going for world star crowds. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a totally different
Rolly-
targeted audience.
Look, I'm not trying to start conspiracies, but I think that Rolly was a threat to him because the boxing skills wise, you probably say Rolly doesn't compare to Tank, but if he nails Tank, that's what they're worried about. You know what I'm saying? That's a fight that I'm willing to see, just because of that aspect. If he hits Tank, who doesn't have the greatest defense, how does Tank react?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, it could possibly. You just never know. Hey, real quick.
I wouldn't pay for that piece of shit fight.
Real quick. We got a phone call here. 903. You're on the air. 903. What's on your mind? 903. You're on the air. Going once. Going twice. I heard something. Did I hear something? 903.
Hello?
You're on the air. Yeah, you're on the air.
Yes, sir. You got a pen and pad on you. These are the fights that need to be made.
Go ahead.
Vasile, Tank and Devin and Tio, Crawford and Spence, Charlo, Canelo Benavidez. Those are the fights that I will pay for. I'm not paying for bullshit. If Tank is fighting, who's this guy, Cruz? I'm not paying for that shit. If Tank is fighting Devin, I'm paying for it. If Tank is fighting Vasile, I'm paying for it. And as far as Triple G old ass, get his old ass out the sport. He been belt hogging for 2 years. He ain't fought nobody. Why is he going over to Japan to fight somebody we don't want to see? Mix it up with Charlo. Mix it up with Andre. Let's get this shit out the way.
Well, I will say
that's the only way the sport. That's the only way the sport is going to come back to where we loved it. Is the best fighting the best. Triple G is fighting somebody that we never heard of.
Well,
Charlo hasn't fought anybody, but Charlo had many opportunities to fight Golovkin. Charlo had many opportunities to fight Golovkin, in my opinion, and that never happened.
Yeah, he done.
Nah, Golovkin never wanted to fight that guy. You know what Golovkin said? Make these guys fight each other. Like, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? You got a belt. You got a belt. Let's mix it up.
But Carla, right? You got to agree. If you look at each other, if you just look at Triple G's resume and you look at Charlo's, you say, okay, one guy has fought 24 rounds with Canelo. The other guy's best win at middleweight was Derenchenko, and that's literally it.
His Triple G's biggest fight was fucking 3 years ago, and that was with Canelo. Ever since then, he's been fighting bums.
And what I'm talking about in the Tokyo fight, it's because Triple G's not from America, so he doesn't have the same mindset. And he's from Kazakhstan. He's fighting in Tokyo. In Tokyo, that's a big fight.
Man, I believe deep down, Triple
I'm
G,
not making it. I'd like to see him retire too, but it's not
his
because I think he's a bum.
I like to see him do whatever he feels he thinks is best.
I agree with this guy.
His last fight with Devin Pico.
Paying for that shit.
Hello?
All right, hold on. Everyone's talking over the caller. Go ahead, caller. Hold on. Caller, go ahead, man. Go ahead.
His last fight with Devin Chico got in that ass. You gotta admit. Triple G, he got gifted.
No.
Hold on, caller, record. Let him finish, please.
Devin Chico got in that ass. He beat that ass. I must say, Triple G should have ran that shit back. Like, come on, man. That's where we got to call it fair down the board. We got to call if Charlo's acting like a bitch, we got to say fucking Triple G is acting like a bitch. You know what I'm saying? Those are the two fighters that I'm really disappointed
when
with.
he starts acting like a bitch, I'll call him a bitch.
Well, listen, caller.
You said what, sir?
Yeah, can I say something about that? Look, listen, it's true that Golovkin, after the Davidenchenko fight, Zeramata, and that's it. Not the most active, not the best opposition, for sure. But let's put it into context here. The guy's 39 years old. He beat Davidenchenko at what, 38, 37? So it's not like he fought him when he was in his early 30s. And by the way, I
he didn't beat him, man.
Well, that's a subject for another discussion. But what I'm trying to get at here is the Murata fight. You said nobody wants to see that. It's not quite true, man. Murata's a big puncher. He's avenged both his losses. But come on, caller, hold on. He's avenged both losses.
Come on.
And the guys that
beat Murata, know him, so he don't like the fight because all he knows is about the American fighters. He doesn't know about other fighters.
Well, actually, okay. Well, let's try to find
about other fighters.
Okay, but let's find some.
I don't know about this Japanese guy.
All right, but let's find some common ground.
In your opinion, it's not a good fight, but to somebody who knows about that guy, I think it's a very good fight.
Okay, so where are you trying to sell Triple G? In America or in Japan?
Wherever he wants to fight.
So
wherever he wants to fight. Whoever wants
he needs to be fighting
wherever,
American fighters. He needs to be fighting superstar Mexican fighters like what's his name that's coming up? The guy that just fought last night.
Mungia.
Yeah. That's a good ass fight, man. Come on, man.
But you gotta understand he had a fight scheduled. He had a fight scheduled, and you don't even know if Mungia's people want that fight. You don't know that.
Keep it up, you're full of shit.
It just, you know what? A lot of people hold Triple G to it. I wish everybody held their favorite fighters to the same level of standards they hold Triple G has been held at. That's all.
I agree with this guy.
Okay,
he looks like a Bible salesman with the Ric Flair robot. That's American.
Well, listen, caller, let's find some common ground here. If Triple G beats Murata and Charlo, I mean, he's only had one fight this year and he doesn't have anything else scheduled. What do you're saying you want to see Triple G and Charlo get it on next? Is that your dream fight for both guys, or?
Fuck yeah! I'm gonna tell you who I'm a fan of. I'm a fan of fucking Earl Smith is my guy. I love fucking Earl Smith.
Yeah,
because he's running the gauntlet. He's running the gauntlet. Like he's what you want to see in the fighter. He has took risks.
What risks?
Canelo has been in fights that I already knew the outcome. I really never had suspense going into a Canelo fight because I already knew the outcome. When it came to an Earl Smith fight, when he went to England, I didn't know. I really didn't know. I was like, man, this he's going to get beat. I really felt he was going to get beat by Brooks at the time. I had suspense. When Canelo fights, I already know the outcome. This guy's going to go on here and pity. This guy's going to go on here, pity pat, put on a few good rounds, then down the stretch, Canelo's going to knock his ass out.
Carry his ass. Carry his ass. Yep.
But what, you know what I'm saying, Carl? But how is that? That's not Canelo's fault. If he's trying to unify a division, you're not responsible for the people who have the belts you're fighting. I understand that you weren't excited about those fights, but I mean, it's not Canelo's responsibility. And I agree that Cal Brook was his best win. But since then, DSG dragging up a dude from fucking super featherweight, a Chris super featherweight, and Mickey Garcia, and going all 12 with them.
No.
I don't know, man. I haven't seen many risks.
Mikey made the call. Listen, Mikey made the call, and Earl answered it. He said, "Okay, this motherfucker goes. He gonna keep calling my name. Okay, I'll fight him." And then with Danny Garcia, you have to give him his props. He could have easily took a no-name tune-up. He hopped fresh out of a car wreck.
But
that is
but Danny Garcia, but Danny Garcia has. All right, call it. But Danny Garcia has never won a legit. All right, call us. Hold on, take a breath, bro. Danny Garcia. Jesus Christ.
Keep going, JP. Just go.
Danny Garcia has never won a significant fight at 147 pounds. His last significant win was 2013, 7 years ago. What has Danny Garcia ever done at welterweight to make anybody think he's anything than a gatekeeper? Name it.
Listen,
he went
man.
life and death with
any guy that comes off a car wreck, I'm finna beat his ass. You know what I'm saying? That's the mentality I'm going to. You shouldn't lose to no guy that's coming out of a car wreck, that's been in the hospital, whose face has been lumped up. No, there's no excuse to lose to a guy like that. And for a guy to even take a fight like Danny Garcia, who's a fucking knockout artist when he can be.
No, he's not. No, yeah, he hasn't been a knockout artist in almost a decade, bro. That's the truth. You want to talk truth. He hasn't been a knockout artist ever at welterweight.
Well, listen. Can I jump in here? Let me jump in real quick, fellas, real quick, because we got to move on to another call. We got to move on to another call before the phone lines close. But caller, I agree with Errol Spence. He was doing what he was supposed to do for a long time. And going to England, that took balls from him. But you said he's running the gauntlet. From what I hear, and this is what worries me, he's not running the gauntlet so much as he's running to the liquor store recently, because the past public appearances he's done, he seems to be wasted. So I don't want to see him lose to. I don't want to see him.
He racist.
I don't want to see him. When's his next fight next?
But because he's been looking. Oh, hold on. Because he's been looking wasted in the last couple of public appearances. What I'm worried about is. And he said himself before the Garcia fight, he said the reason why I couldn't stop Mikey Garcia and Porter is because I wasn't taking them seriously. I wasn't training properly. That's what I'm afraid of, that he's going to fall to the old trap of lack of discipline and outside the ring influences, and he's not going to show up. And then he's got the bad eye on top of that. We don't know if he's going to recuperate, and if he's not taking care of himself physically, that eye could be a problem.
Okay, the only thing I'm worried about, you're right, I'm worried about the eye situation. But as far as him drinking and shit, I'm not worried about that. Like, he done had a close call at death. Like, he's not trying to go. It's really easy to put down the bottle when you want to. Especially when you got young dogs coming up like Jerron Ennis, who's really about to probably take it. Who's probably about to take your shine. And you got a guy named Crawford on the other hand, who's got momentum right now. And he definitely will have momentum if he fucking knock out Sean Porter. So I ain't never seen Errol Spence this active on social media. Never seen him that active on social media. He's getting more active because he senses these young dogs, and he got this adversary on the right hand side. They coming at him. He's cornered. So you being cornered, it's going to make you become more focused. It's going to make you put down those bad habits.
All right, now, real quick, caller.
I'm telling you. I'm not worried about that aspect, but as far as the eye injury, like you said, BDA, that's one thing I am concerned about. I give you that. I'm concerned about the eye injury. Well,
I hope I'm wrong.
And the bad habits.
I hope I'm wrong, man.
I'm not worried about that.
All right. Well, I hope I'm wrong, because I want to see Errol Spence being at his best and fighting the best. But listen, caller, we have to move on to another call before the phone lines close. But thank you for your call, and join the Discord so you can jump on the open panels if you want. All right, man.
All right.
Take it easy, man. Thank you for your call.
Good call.
This was which one am I on here? Okay. So, all right. Let's take another call before the phone lines close here. Let's go to 612. You're on the air. 612. What's on your mind?
Yo, what's up?
How you doing, man?
What's up?
Yeah, what's
Good,
up?
How are you? Yo. Man, I don't know what you guys are talking about, but I missed the last show where you guys were talking about whether or not Caleb Plant took a dive. Bro, I really do think he took a dive because, in my opinion, man, can I talk about that, or is that
sure if you want to?
Is that off limits?
Go ahead.
Yeah, just quickly, man. Look, Caleb Plant was winning the fight, man. He was outboxing my boy Canelo. Man, and I like Canelo, but I swear, man, I had Caleb Plant up by like 3 or 4 rounds or something. But so here's my theory, man. Here's my theory, right? Check this out. So Caleb Plant was winning, right? And you know how they always got to have Canelo win, right?
Sure.
So they're like, man, they probably told him in the corner, Caleb, you got to take a dive, bro. You fucking up our money. So he took a dive. Because how you get knocked out from one punch, man? Come on.
Exactly.
It wasn't one punch. It was an accumulation of punches.
No, he's right. It never happens, though, in boxing to get stunned by a shot and then dropped by 2 follow-up shots. that looked actually harder than the first one. I mean, you're right. I think the caller's being sarcastic, Jimmy. I don't know if you caught on to that.
Oh, I'm having a hard time even hearing you right now, bro. Sorry.
I just came on to message you guys. Bro, I'm playing, man. I just came on to kind of troll you guys. But
I got you, man.
Canelo,
I got you.
I don't even know what you guys are talking about. The Benavidez fight? Or what are you guys even talking about? I just got on late.
Well, okay, real quick. The Benavidez fight we're talking, because actually the audience is split. Some people feel Benavidez, even though he's fighting limited opposition, that he is at least destroying them and that he could show Canelo something he hasn't seen since the Golovkin fight, which is an aggressive puncher. Other people feel that Benavidez is too flat-footed, too hittable, and that Canelo would take him out. So what's your take on that?
Yeah, just quickly, so I don't take you guys' time, too much of you guys' time. But yeah, I think the type of style that really gives Canelo trouble is if you have good feet. Yeah, man, he's just too flat-footed, and that's just like Canelo. That's just Canelo's game right there. You stand in front of him, Canelo's going to destroy you. So I mean, Canelo's a better boxer than David Benavidez. He hits just about as hard, maybe not, maybe even harder.
Whoa.
Yeah, man, I don't see it. Outboxes him and probably punches harder than him. I don't know.
Listen.
That's just my thoughts.
The other thing we're talking about real quick.
Yeah.
I'm curious to get your thoughts. Oh, shit. Actually, let me... Okay, hold on. Two things here. Two things. I just put in another caller here before the phone lines close. So 929, stay on the line. I want to wrap up here with 612. 612, which fight, let's say the Canelo Benavidez fight doesn't happen. What other fight would you like to see for Benavidez that would really get you pumped to watch it?
For Benavidez, I mean, it'd be nice if he fights Caleb. I mean, can that happen? That'd be cool. Like, just to see where he's at. Mm-hmm. I do feel like Benavidez needs more fights on that level. Yeah, the Caleb fight. I don't know. He could fight. Better be if it's at that weight, right?
Better be if it's at 175.
I don't know. Oh, that's right. But I don't know, man. I don't know. I can't think of any off the top of my head.
All right.
But yeah, thanks for having me on, man.
Thank you, man. Thank you for your call and take it easy. Have yourself a good Sunday. All right, let's go to 929. This is the last call of the day. 929, you're on the air. 929, what's on your mind?
Yeah, just got in. What's going on?
Well, we're talking about Benavidez. Well, we're talking how about you things, Virtuoso. Have you been listening? I saw you in the chat. You know what we're talking about.
Yeah, man. I just wanted to say that it was a great night of boxing. You know, I truly liked the zone card, the two zone cards they had. You know, with Galahad and Kiko Martinez being knocked out. Man, to me that's upset of the year. I really liked the Mungia fight. You know, with Gil Rosado. I thought Mungia, to me, it's like his stock is rising, but like he needs to face champions now. You know, after 38 fights, I think it's time. You know, I don't know what's going to happen. You know, with him as far as who's he going to fight next. But the fight that I'm interested in him fighting is Mungia versus Johnny Beck, Alin Kanuli.
Oh yeah.
I think that would be a banger. Yeah. I pick that over him versus Andre, even though Andre and him are on the same platform. You know, to me that one I'm talking about. That to me is a more exciting fight. I know no disrespect to Andre, but I think he should move up to face Canelo. I think he should force the WBO's hand to get him a title shot. You know, with the WBO championship. You know, the super middleweight one. He could do that. I don't know if Canelo will bite, but yeah, I think whatever happens, I just want to see the best fight the best.
Absolutely, Virtuoso. That's what we all want to see, man. We want to see the best. Now, I got to ask you to think, because I'm curious. I'm asking everybody here to get like a pulse on the boxing audience. Which fight do you want to see for Benavidez next? Canelo, Charlo? Which one would you get most excited for?
I would say Charlo, because like I don't. He's probably close to him, on that promotion on that side of the street. It's like he's probably the most improving champion that they have.
Yeah.
I keep seeing him, putting him in there with fucking stirrups, cab drivers. Man, I'm not interested in in this next fight unless he fights Benavidez or at least Plant, But,
right.
Benavidez would definitely have to wait for Canelo fight because I don't think he's ready for that one. I think he needs a few more fights in before he gets to learn something because I think Canelo could find him out.
All right. Well, yeah, that's a fair point, man. And yeah, man, I want to see Benavidez Charlo. I think that would be a great fight, and because Charlo's gonna give it his all, but he might get beat up in there, man. So listen, Virtuoso, we have to move on, man. But thank you for your call, and call back next time, right, man?
Always, man.
And don't stay tuned for the open panels too on Fridays and all that.
Cool.
And
all right,
PDA, can I?
Yeah.
Oh, I just want to say the reason why I'm not asking for the Benavidez with Canelo next. It's not because I don't think Benavidez do. I want to see him get even better because I want the best fight possible. You know what I mean? Right. If he fought Plant, like the caller said, be good. Just to get him, because I just think he needs a little more seasoning. Because I want the best fights possible. Because I think coming in right now to Canelo, it would be too much of a jump in skill and just everything. All these other things that go along with fighting Canelo. There's a lot of stuff that goes with that. Stresses fighters out.
I think you're absolutely right, man. You're absolutely right. Now, Virtuoso brought up a good point, Jimmy. He says, Charlo versus Benavidez. Charlo is 31. Do you think the PBC is looking
at him? That's the fight I want.
Yeah. Do you think the PBC is looking at Jermall Charlo and saying, 31, we know he's limited. Benavidez for him, the sky's the limit, more or less. Let's just put him in there with Benavidez and sort of cash him out or something? Or?
Well, all right, look, and I'm hoping this fucking last pay-per-view showed Heyman like, oh, geez, if Canelo takes the page and, he'll sell more pay-per-views if he matches them better. And if he does, I think, because it's not so much selling out because he's going to get paid either way. Especially if he has him always fighting in-house opponents, he makes 15% on each fighter's purse. So no matter who gets paid, he gets paid. He gets slices at the gate. He gets slices at the thing. So I don't know what motivates him. I personally, I think that it's not going to get better over at the PBC until he retires. That's another whole show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's full of speculation and what ifs. Especially this week, we got the Crawford versus Porter fight. We're going to be looking at what's going to happen in the ring for that one. By the way, I like how I was... Right? Do you guys like how when I was talking about Charlo Benavidez and how the PBC, they wanted to cash him out, I did the little whisper as if I'm actually, hey, let's cash him out. There's people listening. I don't know what the fuck's the matter with me. It's Sunday. What do you want? Before we leave, we're about almost done here, but I want a lot. Thank you. I don't know who said that, but go screw yourselves. Dana White is saying that in terms of the pirate thing, he says, this is what he said at the beginning of the year. He said, watch out, I got a surprise for you, mother effers, to those who are illegally streaming. What does he mean? Is he going to be sending them text messages with a bunch of bad words in them? And here's my second question. You guys were talking about, somebody brought up the black box. For those of you that don't know, this was at the time in the 90s and early 2000s when we had analog cable. And with a black box, which is essentially what you could use to watch pay-per-views legally, the black box was pirated.
A chip so that, inside your box.
Exactly. Yeah. So the chip was modified so you could watch pay-per-view and premium channels for free. Here in Canada, it was the Greeks and a bunch of Middle Easterners that would sell them. I'm curious, in New York, Boston, whatever you're from,
scamming.
Who was the guys that were selling those in your neck of the woods? Curious.
Greek motherfuckers here too.
My father.
I'm all hanging out of their mouth. Greek as fuck. Give me $50. Give me $50.
Give me 50. All right, so Pete's saying Greeks.
Seriously, my dad made a fortune off that in the 80s. He actually bought a fucking condo from him and my mom up in New Hampshire for what he made in 3. A kid from his job taught him how to do it.
Allegedly.
And all of a sudden he was, $50 a piece. Nah, I mean, it was the 80s? Think about it, dude. Time that they couldn't prosecute it if they wanted. Too much time's gone by. And plus my dad's dead. So unless they're going to dig him up. But, well, you know what I mean, dude. I was that sounded probably shitty.
You guys want to see the modern day version of it? I'm going to show you the modern day and a Greek sold me this. A Greek gave me this as a gift. A conniving Greek. Watch this. Let me turn around.
You're not going to put your dick in the... Okay. And by the way,
I'm going to pull Rolly on you.
My
poor Rolly Romero.
The old Rolly Romero, yeah.
Hey,
touch it. Touch it.
You seen this?
Yeah, that's an IPTV box, or what is it?
I don't know. I haven't hooked it up yet.
It looks like an Android.
You just said you wouldn't...
No, I haven't hooked it up yet.
You said you
he said, look, he said, listen, you hook this up to your router. because he heard me talking about boxing.
Right.
And he goes, listen, you hook this up to your fucking internet router. You put that HDMI out to your TV. You can use wireless, but he said don't do that. And he said for $8 a month, any fucking channel, any pay-per-view, porn, fucking the whole night.
Did X take that?
The Greek X. The Greek X with a fucking Pall Mall hanging out of his mouth, talking the whole time, ashing all over the place. I'm telling you, man.
That's cool.
Yeah, it used to be just a chip. I was gonna say, take the box apart. The old days, remember, it was just you had to fuck with the chip and just do something else. But I can tell you what I heard. Dana White, remember you said what's that all about?
Yeah.
Okay, I've heard for a while now they're working on something where if they post it on the fight saying if you illegally stream this with that you're open to all kinds of FCC violations, all that bullshit, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're saying now they're trying to figure out a way. Because if Twitter really wants to, they can find out an IP. How some guys will get accounts suspended and they'll keep making new accounts until they can't, until Twitter finally shuts down the IP. They don't just, you know what I mean? So you can't, unless you get a whole new fucking phone system, everything else. You can't. So under those premises, they're saying they can back channel this. And even if 1% or 10% of people pay, or if almost nobody pays, if they're all of a sudden a letter shows up at your door from the sheriff's department saying you owe plus penalties hundreds of dollars for stealing this thing, half the people or more than that won't even pay. But if that's meant to use just to scare people, so if they can start backtracking people stealing pay-per-views or these streaming, I think that's what it is. Honestly, I think they're trying to figure out a way to start threatening, get to suing people stealing shit.
You know what I say, Jimmy? I say bring it.
Backtracking.
Of course you would.
Hey, you guys remember when they started tracking the DirecTV cards?
Yes.
And they started.
Yes.
Yeah. So some people got charged. I mean, it's FCC, it's statute, it's United States code. It's a federal charge, federal misdemeanor. Yeah. But I mean, listen, maybe he was saying that's what Rolly said when he was that night. Surprise for you. The thing is, he got no surprise. The thing about DAZN is these people are live streaming it on YouTube and demanding fucking super chats, or I'm not going to show the Roy Jones Mike Tyson fight. I'm going to turn it off right now. If you all don't super chat me, let's go. And I mean, there's fucking 50 live streams of that fight.
I remember that guy that used to call in. I forget what his name was, but he would put the latest fights on YouTube, and then he would say, "Yeah, they just every time he would call in, they just shut down my fourth account, but I got a fifth one up." And then Pete goes, "Yeah, this guy's putting up everything in there." Yeah, I got the new Joker movie coming up. I got that. He's putting everything that's just going to the theaters. He's putting it right on YouTube. Of course, you're gonna get a shut down.
I got everything.
But I wanted to say something about that. What you guys were talking about they're trying to get people to backtrack and they're scaring them. That happened too with the torrents. At some point, too many people were torrenting movies, especially movies that were just still in the theater. So then they started getting the cable companies or the internet companies providers to get the IPs and addresses and send threatening letters. And guess what? Some people were saying, especially here in Canada, they can send you all the letters they want. They can't do shit to you from the United States. Second of all, people have ways to circumvent that. It's like PEDs. Every time they come out with a new way to catch you, the guys that are trying to pirate it or do the PEDs, they're always one step ahead already. They're already synthesizing that in fucking labs in Germany, in Mexico. And it's the same thing with this. I'll give you a quick example. When the satellite cards and the black boxes, they went off, they became obsolete. There was a time when people saying, all right, they were trying to figure out how to pirate digital cable, which apparently I think is impossible. Nobody could do it. Then what do? They just came out with IPTV boxes or the Android boxes. So essentially what you're doing is you're just piggybacking off the signal and you're streaming it to other people. So they find a way. So there's always a different way to do it. So.
It hadn't been coax cable for a long time. Ever since it went to fiber optic, this is just slippage, man. This is like your bartender giving his buddies free drinks. And
you guys probably too young to remember. Pete, do you remember fucking closed circuit TV?
Yeah.
You used to have to go places to see the fight. Yeah, you used to have to go to
movie theater, right?
Yeah, you had to go to them. Exactly, brother.
A bar, yeah.
Movie theater or something.
That's to stop one bar owner from paying $80 for the fucking piece of shit tank fight and then showing it to 500 people. They had to put a
commercial bid on it.
Yeah, of course. I mean, this is like just normal slippage. All this pirating. Dana White ain't got no surprises for anybody. If they had any surprises, live, minute by minute, bust, get with YouTube and get with all these streaming companies and just immediately put injunctions real time. But otherwise, they're just going to bump the price up $10 more and understand that I'll pay it, and that there's no price that MMA champ's going to pay for it.
Well, I know that it's a big thing to Dana White. It really gets his goat because obviously he makes money off pay-per-views, and it must just eat him alive. The people are stealing his shit.
He understates how many pay-per-views they sell. You understand that? He does not want anybody to know how many they sell. So he's going to say that we're getting pirated left and right. He's claiming like his pockets are empty. The fighters are telling him you're selling 100 million, you're selling 1 billion pay-per-view buys, and he's going, no, fucking pirates. We got to crack down. Mm-hmm. And they want him to open his books because of this.
Well, there's ways to see. It's what he pays tax on. You can't hide that. So there's obviously
damn pirates, man.
You got his returns. They got a subpoena.
Well, no, I'm just saying you could if they wanted he could subpoena like a lawyer if you were suing him, like a fighter was suing him.
Yeah. A judge could subpoena it if they were allowed to be disclosed. But even if they did subpoena and he produced it, they'd review it in camera. They would not disclose it to anybody except for that one fight. It's being worked out right now. But if you've ever bought a car bought a car for $5,000, then went to the tag office and understated what you paid for the car to pay less tax or registration on it, and then overstated it to the insurance company to get better coverage.
So you think he's selling more pay-per-views than he's releasing?
I think he's saying it's none of your business. I don't want to talk about it.
Well, he releases numbers a lot. He releases the numbers. He says what he sold. Do you think those aren't the true ones?
As far as
I'm wondering.
From what the fighters say, it makes sense to me. Look, bullshit. You're selling twice as many as you're fucking saying.
So when he says he sold 1.2 million, you think he sold 2.2? Well, that's what they think.
I don't know what he sold, but they're saying you probably sold 5 million, bitch, and you're just trying to claim 1.2. How do you sell 1.2 when we're doing all these numbers and all these fucking follow? They're trying to say open and show. No, I'm not opening my books. All right, I'll tell you what. Let's settle on that I sold 1.9. Open the books. He's just going to keep bidding up. You don't want to disclose that.
I tell you what, man. I think Dana White is starting to turn into Baron Harkonnen from the latest Dune movie, and he's starting to look like him physically. He's a bald, fat fuck, and he's a greedy fuck too. Yeah, I wouldn't surprise me if he's trying to pull off something like that, Pete. I mean, this is a guy, and from what Jimmy tells us about the type of character he is, would not surprise me, man. Would not surprise me. But I mean, in any event,
listen, the boxing guys are overstating it too. Bullshit. They ain't fucking. Let me say one thing. If you ever read how the old distribution, when it was coax cable, the fucking process of getting a pay-per-view from a camera watching something in Vegas to your house in Lowell, that process took so many routes that were controlled by private companies that there was really no way to tell. They just wholesaled it to a distributor, flat fee. That distributor sold it to many, many different cable providers who had like a tight grip on the whole country. I mean, you needed that coax cable to be ran. It's like a toll road. So at the end of the day, I think that's the way it is still. These guys there's just no way that they fucking Tank sells that many pay-per-view buys, any of them, when you're up against free boxing on ESPN.
All right.
And there's not happening.
Well, that's Pete's point of view, his theory. It might have some merit. Pete, I want you to keep an eye on this. What do you think about that? Is that possible?
I looked into it. Yeah, I do keep an eye on it. I look into it.
All right. I need more. I need a report on that by Friday. But listen, we're going to be... It's an interesting... No, but it's an interesting theory because, again, like Jimmy says too, that the PBC is not telling you the PBC is not telling you the real numbers. So, I mean, I don't know.
No, in fact, they put in a gag order. Why would they do that? For the first time ever, they suddenly telling the providers, because they would also not only list it, it would be in Forbes magazine, they would say too, because that's the number they're paying taxes on. Like Showtime used to release it, HBO would release it. The only one, and all of a sudden he says don't, but yet Carpenter is releasing the numbers and from a source. That's why I believe he's doing it on purpose because he knows these aren't selling anywhere near he's claiming. Think about it. You're just going to tell me that Manny Pacquiao against fucking Ugas, even though Ugas is, not known, did 225 to 250, but fucking Tank Davis did 225? Fuck out of here. No way.
Hey, look, man. Hey, those numbers are so inflated, they blew Ellerby's nostrils off, okay?
Oh.
They fucking blew his nostrils off.
I'm
Pete's
on fire, man.
Every business in the country pays taxes on one amount, and reports a different amount to people they're going to loan them money or be their customers. That's game.
So now we know to look into Pete's business.
Oh, come on. Wait a minute. No.
Just kidding, Pete. I'm just fucking with you.
That's why you report a base income.
Ellerby, he's got his nose wide open. He's breathing down your neck. All right. And the problem is, I don't care if it's from Ellerby or from Coppinger. Both of them can fuck off. No one wants that fight.
Ellerby's got to be pretty smart. I mean, the guy has with those extra large nostrils, he gets more oxygen intake, so he's probably thinking 3 steps ahead, man. You never know. Listen,
he's one of the biggest clowns in boxing.
Ah, come on, Jimmy.
Not as smart as his nose look. All right, so
okay, that makes no sense, man. What the?
He got a bad batch. He got a bad batch of coke one night. Fucking blew my nostrils right off.
Wait a minute. I call him a clown, and it's come on, Jimmy. Everybody else is talking about how big his nose is.
I know that's the joke, Jimmy. Come on, man. But
no, you growing up and everybody had a nickname. I guarantee you, his nickname was Big Nose or something like that.
Yeah, something nose related.
Front end of a '76. It looks like the front end of a Volkswagen.
Oh, he would have been hanging out with me back in the days. His nickname
side
was
by side. It's like a double barrel shotgun. That motherfucker.
I mean, he banned us off of. We're banned off of his Twitter there because Butcher was going at him. And
I woke up De La Hoya, Golden Boy, and Heyman because Ellerby wants to hold the bag for a minute. You guys are
he banned me when I put. You have a hell of a nose for the business of boxing. So
that sounds like a
blow. You hand him an ounce of blow. He comes to the bathroom and he hands you back a fucking piece of fucking litter. What happened to all the fucking I just bought a whole ounce.
You know how in prison people stick things up their behind to hide things. He's got a full nose in there, man. It's like a fucking it's like a storage unit that he just has there for rent, man. It's amazing. Put whatever he wants in there.
You can make his nose a stash. He's a total fucking bullshitter. A hidden stash somewhere, right?
Yeah.
To hide some guns.
He's a bullshitter, and the problem is that, like I said, it don't really matter. Someone has to pay for it somehow. So that's the only difference with the digital. In many ways, it's gotten easier to pirate, but in a lot of ways, they can sell it directly to you. In other words, they could sell you that fight directly, but it's the same.
All right, Pete, we got to move on from this pay-per-view talk, man. I do have to go. We'll pick it up later. No, we'll pick it up later at another juncture, especially this week if we do because let's not forget that speaking of pay-per-view, Crawford Porter's pay-per-view, we can talk about how many people are going to pay for that one and the numbers that it's going to do. So
I think it does better than any of the Spences. Which will make it. Now think about that monkey wrench being thrown in. Remember, for the longest time, Spence on the A side, 80-20. You know what I mean? Based off these bogus fucking numbers, even though they've collapsed, in his 3 fights, they've gone down. Now think about it. If Croc goes out, does better numbers, plus beats Porter better, is fucking Spence still the A side? I'd say no.
Well, listen, we'll talk about that, man.
Never the A side. These guys are not the A side. They're both equally. They're just equal. Like Spence needs to cut it out. I think he was more trolling than he was serious. To be honest.
Well, listen, we'll talk about that.
I agree with you. I just think he throws it out there. But we got film study and everything this week, don't we?
Absolutely, we got a lot to look forward to, man. A lot to look into. Some work to be put in as well. I want everybody to bring their A game. Recognize. I'll let you slide if you bring your B game. That's okay. I like you.
Recognize got a lot going on.
My B game is as good as everybody else's A game.
Still pretty good.
Recognize with the confidence.
I aspire to recognize his B game.
All right.
Let's calm down. Let's calm down. Hey, I'll say one more thing. What I was saying earlier about that caller, that he was just saying that he liked Earl because he's giving you the best fights he can. Now, really, boxing is Big Al at the lunch counter And that guy's just fucking. He wants his chop. Hey man, give me my chop. Allah is blushing. I ain't no fucking Muslim, man. All right. I'm sorry. Due to the help, we've run out. Motherfucker. We've run out of top level fights. I'm sorry. Motherfucker.
Well, it isn't it the way? Like, think about it. What would the same people, Spence fans, what would these same people be saying about Danny Garcia if that was a Canelo opponent?
Nah, Pete,
dude doesn't want to fight forever. It was a cherry pick. But now that he fought Spence, he's a knockout artist.
Hey, Pete, did you see what you just started, man? Did you see what you just started, Pete? I said we're gonna go, and Pete has to give his last point, and then it starts off a whole other discussion.
Give me some chon chon. Give me some chon chon.
All right, we gotta go. But listen, guys.
Good night.
Great conversation. I was actually gonna end this earlier, but the conversation's so good. But I do have to go. I got things to do, man. And I know you guys are busy too. So thank you so much for being on. Really appreciate it, man. Really look forward to these episodes.
Are you gonna have some French fries with mayonnaise? What are you gonna do?
Nah, come on, why? Because I'm in Quebec. I gotta be eating French fries and mayonnaise. That's a stereotype right there.
Good. Pretty good.
It is actually pretty good. Kevin from Chicago, or K-Dog, as I like to call him now, he says he hates French fries with, that mix of mayonnaise and ketchup. He says he hates it. I love it. I don't know what's wrong with it. How are you gonna have? How are you gonna eat a Cuban hamburger without a mix of ketchup and mayonnaise? I mean, it's you can't do that.
Exactly.
You just can't do that.
Come on.
All right.
It's blasphemy. Blasphemy.
Enough of this foolishness. We do have to go. Shout out to everybody out there. Hey, I want to thank Pete, Bucho, Recognize, Jimmy, Chief, who showed up as well here. We miss Gonzalo. Hopefully we catch him for the film analysis later on this week. Everybody that donated via the super chat, you guys know who you are. Don't forget to join the Discord. Don't forget to hit the like, subscribe. Everybody that donated via the super chat. Everybody that called in. Guys, you're the best. Let me give a shout out to One Foot Out the Door, BA Boxing Archives and Facts, Miguel Arroyo, Ed Perez, Norman Luis, Tone. Who else, man? I can't. Virtuoso,
Hard ER Boxing. Hard ER Boxing.
Okay, come on. We just stopped that joke.
Earlier.
Rex Righteous, the Chief, Chinelo, Alvaroid, Edwin Castillo, Funkritis, everybody, guys. You know who you are. Too many to name, but thank you for joining in.
Bucho, too, brother.
I did say
mention Bucho.
No, I didn't. I said Bucho.
Oh, I didn't hear Bucho. Sorry. I just want to make sure my boy got his props.
What's the matter with you? All right. Listen, let's. All right, let's. We gotta go. But thank you guys for joining us. Catch you on the next.